Hey, everybody. I decided to hop on real quick while I'm doing some editing and see what everybody's up to and let you guys any questions asked you want to ask about my new book. So, right now I'm getting ready to proofread the second chapter I just finished in my new book, The Two Brothers, War and Turmoil. And so I guess I'm going to dive into it. Let me quiet my music here. I like to listen to music whenever I'm um writing, especially this Norwegian chants. Seems to help me concentrate a lot. So let's dive into it and do some proofreading on chapter 2 here on my new book that I'm working on. Let me turn the speaker up.
Chapter 2, Mercia. Death is nothing, but to live defeated and inglorious is to die daily. By Napoleon Bonaparte. Haydn Longueuil was sitting at the local alehouse. 6 months ago, he lost his wife and daughter to a band of highwaymen. Haydn had been out looking to buy a cow. Heather and Dawn had stayed home to complete their daily chores. Haydn had been a soldier for most of his life. He had fought against the English Mercians. They often raided in Daneland. They cared not if you were Dane or English. They often were no better or, in most cases, worse than the Danes. He was a mountain of a man. His strength and skill were not matched. He quickly built a reputation and rose through the ranks.
Well, that just doesn't flow good. That's in the wrong spot, I feel. Let's see if that sounds better.
They often were no better, or in most cases, they are worse than the Danes. He was a mountain of a man. His strength and skill were not matched. He quickly built a reputation and rose through the ranks. One day, when they were sacking Lichfield, he met her. She was the most beautiful and amazing woman that he had ever seen. One of his men was trying to have his way with her. Haydn quickly stepped in and sent his man on his way. This angered the man. She is mine, by right of war. Haydn placed himself between her and his man. Your right is what I say it is. I say she is mine and that you should go and find another. The man pulled his sword. I will show you what rights that you may give. The man came for him, and Haydn, not even pulling his sword, grabbed the man's wrist, spun around, reliving the man of his sword, and in one flew.
I need to add a word in there. Should sound better.
Grabbed the man's wrist and spun around, reliving the man of his sword, and in one fluid.
No. Let's see if that sounds better.
And spun around, relieving the man of his sword, and in one fluid movement, dispatched the man of his head.
Definitely sounds better.
The head rolled across the ground, and the headless body stumbled forward a few steps before falling to the ground. Haydn lost his job as a soldier and his home that day. A tear rolled down his cheek as he downed his 10th tankard of ale. He got up and nodded at the ale winch. He placed a couple of coins on the table and left the alehouse. Snow covered the land before him. There was a chill in the air. He sighed, for he knew winter was all but over, and soon the Norsemen would return. Haydn never stayed in one place too long. He sold his axe to the highest bidder. He was not welcomed in his homeland or here, but few dared to challenge him. He was often hired to kill thieves.
Let's see if we can make that sound a little bit better.
He was not welcomed in his homeland, nor was he welcomed here, but few dared to challenge him.
Yeah, like
He was often hired to kill thieves, highwaymen, and bandits. It really was whatever the employer wanted to call them. They all are one and the same, really. He blew some snot from his nose and walked across the street to the local merchant shop. He kicked the snow from his boots and walked in. An elderly balding man looked up at him. Haydn walked over to him. The man sat down. What he was inspecting, Haydn long axe, I presume? Haydn just stared death into him. The man took a few steps back and grabbed a purse of coins. Some ruffians have been hitting my supply wagons. I would like for you to take care of that problem for me. Haydn grabbed the purse from the man. He tossed it up a couple of times.
Hello.
Satisfied that the weight felt right, he turned to the man. Where can I find them? The man sighed a sigh of relief. They seem to favor my wagons coming from Chester. My drivers tell me they hit along Midway too close to town here. Haydn did not say anything. He just turned and left the shop. He distended the English mercians.
Yeah, right. Why did you change that? That's not what I typed in there.
He disdained the English mercians.
There we go.
They always...
Oop, there's another correction I got to make. Okay. Now, let's see if it'll like what I did here. Get back to where I left off.
He disdained the English mercians. They always looked down upon him. If he did not need the coin, he would run them all through with his axe.
So, in case you guys get on here later and you got questions, the reason why I put on there English Mercians was back in the day of Dane law, there was two types of Mercia. There was Dane Mercia and English Mercia. Even though they were all in one and the same place, they were distinguished as English Mercia and Dane Mercia. So that's why that's in that book there.
He made his way to the stable. He put 2 bits in the stable boy's hand. The boy smiled and gathered up Haydn's horse. Haydn had taken a liking to the young boy. His parents had been killed by Wessex raiders last summer. Haydn made the boy as his personal stable boy. He was responsible for keeping Dreamweaver fed, groomed, and cared for. The boy brought Dreamweaver to Haydn. Haydn smiled and rubbed his horse's neck and fed him an apple. Haydn looked down at the boy. Rob, I will be gone for a spell. Stay with Miss Abby. She will look after you while I am away. Rob smiled and ran off. Haydn climbed up and into the saddle. He turned Dreamweaver north towards Chester. It is going to be a long, cold, and boring ride. He has been paid to do a job, and that is what he is going to do. Haydn had been riding for most of the day. He found some remains of a wagon. There was a fresh trail leading northwest. Seemed to be about 6 riders. They were
just finished chapter 2 of my new book, so I'm kind of going over it.
Dreamweaver in that direction and followed the trail. Come nightfall, he had found their camp. He had Dreamweaver about 1/4 of a mile from the camp. He pulled his long axe from the saddle and made his way to the camp on foot. When he reached the outer edge, he stopped and studied the camp. There were 6 Mercian men with a beautiful young woman tied up.
If you guys got anybody comes in, they got questions about the new book I'm writing, feel free to ask me. That's why I'm doing this. Gives me a chance to interact with you guys, so you guys can get an understanding of my books, why I write them the way they do, and stuff like that. You guys are more than welcome. That's why every now and then I'll come on live when I'm doing writing or editing, is just kind of give you guys a chance to pick my brain on why I do what I do.
She looked to be Dane by her clothing. They had the cargo that was stolen from the wagon. He looked some more and found the remains of a damn man. The man had been beaten.
Ooh, you changed that up on me. Bad thing about Grammarly. Sometimes they change things up when I don't want it changed.
More and found the remains of a Dane man. The man had been beaten and cut up. There was no doubt that he was dead. The men seemed to be trying and had their...
That is wrong. With me not being able to
There was
spell
no
together,
doubt that
I
he was
rely on
dead.
Grammarly.
The men seemed to be trying and had their way with the woman. After a few minutes of her fighting them off, they tired of the entertainment and commenced beating her into submission. Haydn could hear the impact of the big man's fist as he struck her. Haydn could not watch anymore. He walked out into the glow of the firelight. The look of death was on his face, and the men were taken back from the sight of this very large man wielding a long axe. Haydn, without hesitation, swung his axe and cleaved the head off the large man who was beating the woman. Blood sprayed the young woman and the other 5 men. The large man's body crumpled to the ground. The others sat there in shock. That had been taken by surprise.
No.
They had been taken by surprise.
One thing I like about Microsoft, it actually reads what I write out to me. So when I'm going through and doing my editing side of it, I like to listen to it, and it helps me to kind of pick up what may be wrong in my writing, especially with me not being able to spell too well.
He turned his sights to the others. They quickly grabbed their weapons. A mid-sized young man came for Haydn. Haydn just smiled as he waited for his next kill. The man came in low, hoping to disembowel Haydn. He sidestepped the man and took the blunt end of his axe and smacked it across the back of the man's head. It made a loud whack as it echoed through the trees. The young man fell onto the ground, sprawled out, and face first into the dirt. The 4 remaining men started to circle Haydn. He watched them through the corners of his eyes. A fat man came from behind. His scream hurt Haydn's ear. Haydn ducked the attack. The man's sword scrapped the back leather armor that Haydn was...
No. That is wrong. If that fixed it.
The man's sword scraped the back leather armor that Haydn was wearing. He spun around the fat man and brought the handle of his long axe around and started to choke the man out. The man grabbed the handle, trying to remove it from his throat. Haydn started laughing. You find mighty men sure are scary. If you welcome death, then come and meet him. I will send in the right direction.
Fix that.
I will send you in the right direction.
There we go.
Haydn let out a mighty roar, and he pulled his axe handle in tightly against the man's throat. The man gasped for air and flung around, trying to free himself from death's grip. After a few seconds, they could hear their friend's throat crack and pop. This massive warrior had crushed the man's throat without even breaking a sweat. The man's lifeless body fell to the ground at Haydn's feet. Haydn looked at the bodies on the ground, 3 down and 3 to go. Do not waste any more of my time. Come and meet your maker. I have come for your blood, and by the gods, I will have it. The 3 remaining men rushed him. He laughed and dodged their attacks. He blocked a sword strike to his face and kicked the man in the balls. The man dropped his sword and curled up into a ball on the ground. 2 are left standing. They will be easier to fight. He studied the movements of the remaining men. He faked an attack on the well-groomed man, with gray in his beard and hair. After the fake and the young scrawny man lunged in, Haydn jumped back and into the side of the young man.
And that ain't flowing right. Let me rethink that. see if that sounds better.
Fake attack. The young scrawny man lunged in from behind.
Oops, I forgot to take that out.
After the fake attack, a young scrawny man lunged in from behind. Haydn jumped back and into the side of the young man. The man's sword thrust faltered, and Haydn had him where he wanted him. Quickly! Haydn pulled his dagger from the small of his back and thrust it into the left eye.
Why did you add that there? See how that does.
Quickly, Haydn pulled his dagger from the small of his back and thrust it into the left eye socket of the man. The man let out a short scream of pain but was quickly silenced. Blood poured from the eye socket with the dagger in it. The man stood there for a second, then fell limp to the ground. All there was left standing was the elder, well-groomed man. Haydn set his long axe on the ground and leaned against it. By the looks of you, I would bet that you are the leader of these dead and soon-to-be dead men. Would I be mistaken? The man's eyes darted around, surveying the carnage this man had done single-handedly. He was trying to figure a way out of this mess. I guess I was, but it looks like I am no longer. I guess it would be...
It don't sound right. Let me see if I can fix this and make it better. Hello, how you doing
done
today?
Single-handedly.
Yeah,
He was trying to...
that sounds way better. So let's start that paragraph over, see how it goes with that change.
The man's eyes darted around, surveying the carnage this man had done single-handedly. He was trying to figure a way out of this mess. I guess I was, but it looks like I am no longer. I guess it would be a waste of my time to try and talk you out of this. Haydn lowered his head and chuckled. Gray bread, you would. I have paid to fertilize this land with your life force, and that is what I am going...
Why did you change that? All right. Gray beard. Hey, how's it going?
Gray beard, you would. I have paid to fertilize this land with your life force, and that is what I am going to do.
Just finished chapter 2 of my new book, so I'm kind of over it.
He quickly turned to run. As he made for his escape, he felt a sharp pain in the back of his head. He stood there, unable to will his legs to move. He could not any part of his body to move. Fear gripped him tight as he heard...
it's missing something. What's everybody up to today that's in here? Yeah, that sounds better.
He felt a sharp pain in the back of his head. He stood there, unable to will his legs to move. He could not will any part of his body to move.
I'm still missing some stuff on there. Let's see how this sounds. How's that sound outside? Sounds like dang chicken, man. Ain't got no chickens. Okay. Let's see how this sounds with the edit.
He could not will any part of his body to move at all. It was as if he was no longer in control of his own body. Fear gripped him tight as he heard the heavy footsteps coming for him. The man who had laid waste to his men walked around in front of him. The man blinked his eyes, and darkness started to creep in all around him. He could make out that he was falling but could feel nothing. As the light left his eyes, he could barely make out the ground next to his face. Haydn leaned over, and with a couple of good yanks and a foot on the dead man's head, he was able to remove his small axe from the man's skull. He wiped the blood off onto the man's corpse, and he put the axe back into his belt loop. He rummaged through the man's body, taking anything of value and interest. He then whistled and walked over to the man who had been rolling around on the ground from a kick to the groin. Haydn grabbed a handful of hair and picked the man up to his feet. He grabbed the man by his lower jaw. Haydn looked into the man's eyes and placed another hand on top of his head. Haydn smiled, and in a quick movement, snapped the man's neck, killing him instantly. He let the lifeless body fall to the ground, and he rummaged his corpse. A groan came from his left. Haydn turned to see the young man waking from his forced nap. Haydn grabbed a small rope and walked over to him. He put his massive boot on the small of the man's back and pressed down hard. The man let out a yell of pain. Haydn tied the man's hands behind his back and rolled him over. Be a good boy, and you will yet live a little longer. He then turned his attention to the beautiful young woman. She was still out cold, and her face was severely swollen. Dreamweaver had made his way up to Haydn. Haydn smiled and rubbed the neck of his friend. He finished going through the men's corpse, and then he picked up the woman and laid her across the saddle. He grabbed the tied man up and flung him across the back of Dreamweaver. There was an abandoned cottage not far to the east from there. Haydn often stayed there. He climbed up and took the woman in front of him and wrapped his arm around her waist. They rode for the cottage. After about an hour, they arrived. He reached behind him and slid the helpless man to the ground. He hit with a thud and groaned out in pain. Haydn carefully climbed down and held the woman over his shoulders so as not to drop her. He carried her to the door. He worked the latch up and carried her to the bed. After he laid her down, he went outside and grabbed the man by his hair. He lifted him to his feet. The man screamed out in pain. Haydn walked him over to a pole on the ground. Haydn threw him down and then tied him to the pole. The man's back was against it.
I need to change that up just a little. So start over, see how that sounds.
Haydn walked him over to a pole on the ground. He threw him down and then tied him to the pole. The man's back was against it, and he could feel the splinters working their way into his back. Haydn then turned and walked over to the well. He brought a bucket of water up and took it inside. He soaked some rags in the cold water and started placing them around the woman's face and cuts. When he had finished, he could hear the sound of a wagon off in the distance. He turned to cut the wagon off. Much to his delight, it was the wandering man they called Rue. He had a reputation as a healer of sorts. Haydn held a hand up and yelled out, "Rue, you are a sight for sore eyes." The man smiled. "Haydn, bloody as always, I see. What brings you this far out?" Haydn smiled and walked up to Rue. He stuck his hand out, and they both clasped each other's wrists. "I was paid to kill some bandits. I have done such and have one left for the merchant to do as he wishes." Rue smiled as he stared into Haydn's eyes. "The gods tell me that there is more to this story, Haydn. Come on with you. Tell old Rue what it is." Haydn smiled. "You are correct, old-timer. I have a young woman back at the cabin. She had been..."
It's not a cabin, daggone it. I knew I typed that wrong. Let me fix that real quick. Oop, That's what I'm hearing. My dog wants back in. I'll be right back, guys. All right. Get back into it.
You are correct, old timer. I have a young woman back at the cottage. She had been beaten badly. I was hoping you would be willing to aid her. Rue laughed loudly. Lead on, my boy, lead on. Time is of the essence, and old Rue does not have much I fear. Rue followed Haydn back to the cottage. After a couple of hours, Rue emerged from the cottage. He was whipping his hands. She is awake. I informed. He was wiping his hands. She is awake.
That sounds better.
I informed her of what had happened. She will pull through, but it will take some time. I am heading to town. Do you need me to bring you anything? Haydn thought about it for a moment.
Hey, how's it
I
going?
need to spend time here with her? Rue nodded yes. Very well, here is some coin. Get me some provisions for us in Dreamweaver. Have Rob aid you. Let the merchant know where to find me. Have him bring a wagon to recover his goods. Rue climbed up into the wagon and took the coins from Haydn. I will be back come morning. See you then, Dranger. Rue whipped the leads, and his horse took off. The wagon creaked and popped as it made its way from view. Haydn watched it go from sight. Then he turned to go back into the cottage. The man tied up called out to him, Mister, I need water and food. Haydn stopped and turned to him, You will get neither. I will not waste what little that I have here on a dead man. The man begged, Please, mister, do not let them have me. If you let me go, I swear to God that you lot will never see me again. Haydn bellowed out a laugh. Then he headed back into the cottage. The cottage smelled of herbs and incense. The woman lay in bed awake, watching him as he came in. Haydn robed his weapons and armor. He laid them in a...
Let's see, that should be better.
Haydn removed his weapons and armor. He laid them in a corner. Then he removed the furs and sat them next to the armor. The woman was seeing what he looked like for the first time. He was covered in muscles and scars. He walked over to the fireplace and stacked some kindling into it. After getting it started, he stacked some wood on the fire.
Hey, how's it going?
Chapter 3, time for...
So that was chapter 2. Just got through doing a quick edit on it. This is my new book that I'm writing. It's called The Two Brothers, War and Turmoil. And it is about, it's back in the days of Danelaw in England. And this man had lost his wife during childbirth to his oldest son, Einar. He'd went to England, took out all of his pain and misery that he felt from the loss of his wife over in England while he raided, and he ended up staying the winter over in Mercia down at Cambridge. And in short story, he ended up falling in love over there and had another son. and that opened his eyes up, and he went back to Norway. So during the raiding season, he was over in Mercia with his newborn son. During the winter season, he was back in Norway with his oldest son, raising him. And neither of these two know about each other. So that's where the concept of this book is coming from. So the first one is basically how they're going to meet. Right now, I've got the introduction done. Chapter 1, Norway's done. Chapter 2, Mercia's done. There's chapter 1, Norway kind of goes and gives a background of Einar, um, the oldest son. Chapter 2, Mercia, um, takes place with the younger unknown brother, um, Haydn, and how he becomes who he is. So I keep everything really close to period based when I write. Yes, my books are books of fiction, but there's a lot of historic content in my books. The locations are real. Um, I've got a site here I go to if I want to look up, let's say, a German name. It'll give it to me, male, female. So when I look up names for characters, I go on there, go to the race of the people I'm writing about, and that's how I come up with the names. I just scroll through them, and when I find one I like, and that's the one I go to. Um, I mean, if you guys are listening, if you guys want me to, I can play the introduction real quick and let you guys kind of hear that if you're interested in it. And if you guys got questions about any of this new book I'm writing, always feel free to ask. That's why I do these lives when I'm writing this from time to time. Is I kind of want to see what you guys think on the on my newest work. Grammarly is telling me I've got a couple of things messed up here. Let's see what it is. Okay, yeah. No, I don't like that. Yeah, okay. With my spelling, it's hard for me to spell and read. So I depend when I'm writing. I depend on Grammarly. I depend on Microsoft. Microsoft has suggestions. I kind of play which one sounds good, and that's the one I'll use when I'm editing, either between Grammarly or Microsoft. The problem I have with Grammarly is it's very what's a polite way of putting that on here? New age of thinking, I guess you can say. And I don't write that style. Um, that's just not me, and it's not who I am. And every one of the books I write has a element of me in it, so I can't. I'd be lying to you, the reader, if I wrote in a way that's not me. If that makes sense. Um, but it's fun. This is not a cryptid horror. This is another one like my books, The Dolphs, Land Beyond. The book, The Dolphs, Land Beyond, is basically it takes place during the days of pirates and settling the New World. This is a Norse. Well, both of them are Norse based, but that's primarily because my bloodline is Norse. So that's why I like that style of writing because it's kind of who I am. But this one is Norse based, back in the days of Danelaw in England. And that's kind of what it is. And I'll play this introduction so you guys can hear it. That's Let's see here. There we go.
Introduction. The year is 873 AD. It is a calm, warm spring morning. The fog was thick, and there was a stillness to the air. The smell of fresh grass lingered in the air. Cambridge was a simple place. Brother Baz finished dumping the slop into the hog pen when he looked up. Looking towards the River Cam, he thought he had spotted something. It was only visible for a split second, and then it was gone. Baz studied the foggy riverbanks, trying to see what he caught a glimpse of. All he could see was a swirling mass of fog. After a few moments of not seeing anything, he shrugged his shoulders and headed back to the monastery. He placed the slop bucket on the inside of the doorway in the corner. Then he headed to do his morning prayers before he got to work on his studies. Incense filled the air like a cloud inside the chamber. The faint whispers of all the monks praying sang out. It was just a normal morning for them. Then the doors slammed open. Everyone looked up, and cries of horror began. There in the doorway were the demons called Norsemen. One of them hurled an axe through the air and struck Brother Tell between the eyes. His cries of horror came to a halt promptly as the axe buried itself to the handle. Brother Tell's arms fell to his side, and he slowly fell backward, stiff as a board. More screams rang out, and the demons commenced to sack our beloved church. They flowed in like a flood of water. They destroyed all that they touched. Some of us were kept as prisoners. Others, maybe they were the lucky ones, were killed. The smells of incense that once filled this chamber were replaced with the smells of shit, piss, and sweat. Baz trembled in fear in a corner of the chamber. These Danes looked like bloodthirsty monsters, and Baz wanted to avoid their gaze for as long as possible. They rummaged through everything. A woman who was staying the night in the monastery tried to attack one of the Danes. He was a mountain of a man, a head taller than the others. Every inch of him was covered in muscles. He had dark brown hair, almost black. He wore very little armor and was armed with a sword, axe, shield, knife, and spear. She came at him with a small knife, trying to stab him. The man laughed and just moved away from her attacks like he was made of water. After a few moments of entertainment, he grabbed the knife from her hands. Then he picked her up and slung her over his shoulders. He walked out with her kicking and screaming. Baz never saw her again. The Danes ended up wintering that year in Cambridge. They had conquered a large area in England. Mercia was under their control, and it seemed like there would be nothing that the English kings could do to stop them. For some, this was a dark time. For others, this was a shining time. Many prospered under the Danes, while others plotted against them.
So that's just the introduction is kind of
Chapter 1, Norway.
give you
In
a
peace, sons bury their fathers.
quit.
In war, they had conquered a large
Hey,
area
Ray.
in England. Mercia was under their control.
Quit. Thank you. So the introduction kind of gives you a rough idea of the point of view of the Mercian monks and setting up to give you kind of a glimpse of what the story is going to be based off of and where Bor, Einar, and Hayden's father comes into play. So I didn't want to write that in the mindset of the Norse who were there in Mercia. I wanted to write the introduction in the mindset of the English monks as these Norsemen came over. So that's what the introduction was. Like I said, chapter 1's Norway, where it tells a story, kind of a story of Einar. Chapter 2 is Mercia, kind of tells you a story of Hayden. So chapter 3 starts up with, it's called chapter 3 is the time for raiding. And at the end of chapter 1, Norway, Einar just married his childhood sweetheart. And it was getting close to the end of winter and the start of raiding season. And he had just built his very first longship and was preparing to go raiding. So chapter 3 is going to pick up, like a month after the wedding, and they're getting ready. They're going to sail for England to Mercia to start raiding. And that's kind of where chapter 3 is picking up. So I haven't written on anything on it yet. I wanted to go through and proofread chapter 2 and do any editing I had to do. And now that I'm finished with that, we can get started. Now, when I write my books, one thing that helps me do my writing, and I'll be playing it here in a second, is I listen to, you guys can hear it or not, Norwegian or Nordic kind of meditative singing. It helps me to get in the mindset of my writing, and I'm able to write so much easier that way. I found that's what works best for me. I turned it down a little bit. I don't know if you guys can still hear it. If I need to turn it up, you guys want to listen to it while I'm writing, let me know. But yeah, I mean, you guys got any questions about this book so far? Like I tell you, that's why I do these lives like this when I'm working on my books from time to time. Is I like to interact with the people who read my books, and I believe it helps build a personal relationship between me, the author, and you, the reader. That's why I do this. So you guys are more than welcome just to watch and listen as I write, or you got any questions or inputs, man. I'd love hearing from you guys. If you guys watch this later on and you got the same thing, it's like I always say, feel free to leave a message in there and I'll answer it. Um, that's why I do this. But today is just a relaxation day. I'm trying to get some writing. I just released my newest book, uh, uh, the American Guard Book One's How Battle, which was the book I was working on previously, based off the World War II German werewolves. That is now available on Kindle, hardback, paperback, and currently in production for audio. So I'm kind of excited. I was up late last night making some new commercials to promote my books. I done another one this morning. About 1 o'clock in the morning, I was tired of making commercials, so I've been kind of dealing with them on that stuff too. But yeah, it's kind of fun. So I'm not a man with a lot of money, so most of my promotions are done by either what I make, I put out, word of mouth, and stuff like this here. How you been today, Ray? Hey, Ray, can you hear that music pretty good on here? I've got a new setup on my microphone, so I'm still working to see if I'm trying to cut down a lot of the second, um, but I'm trying to get things positioned where I can produce better lives for everybody. Short videos when I'm doing. Anybody else out there, I may not be seeing. If you got comments on the too, feel free. Going over the last preparations for the trip for a second. I'm looking up every great once in a while to make sure I don't miss anybody's comments. If you see me do that, that's because I've got my live screen over to my left so that my main focus is on my writing right in front of me. When I see me do that, it's because I'm looking to see if anybody wrote a message or not. Letter that I want to get. Hey, who just came in? How you doing today? I'm gonna be if I don't answer a message right off the bat, I'll be right back. I've got to look up a name for a new character real quick. So I'm still here. I just got to pop up this deal here and see what name I want to pick for this new character. Write it down so I don't forget about it later on. Hey, Sue, how you doing? I'm working on my new book. How you doing today, Sue? Got a motorcycle show and swap meet. I got to work Sunday. That's what them messages are. We got to get up nice early Sunday morning to set up for that. We do it once a year uh, in March. March or February, we put on that bike show and swap meet. That is one of the ones we do. And then August is our fundraiser for Springfield Public School Coach for Kids. So I actually forgot that's this Sunday, so I'm getting the messages. Gotta be there bright and early. Uh, they're really don't have a whole lot of issues. They're very good about letting me know when something doesn't feel right in the area. I take them with me quite often when I go in the woods, unless I'm hunting, because they are a good source for me to see if something's in the area that's not supposed to be. Um, I had rescued a few years back. Uh, let's see, it's probably Yeah. Um, let's see here. Trying to remember. I want to say it was around 2012. Me and a buddy had rescued a cane corso, called her Calypso. She was my baby. I rescued her at 5 months old from a. She was almost dead when the time I rescued her, and she's been my girl ever since. And this is back when I lived in my other trailer, where I have that time to time you hear that little girl dancing and singing down at that trailer there. And one day, she loved to sleep in bed with me. She was laying next to me. All of a sudden, she straddled over my side and let out this blood curdling growl. Like, I mean, it curled the blood in my body. It was so evil, the growl. She was looking at the living room. So I reached up my headboard, grabbed my 40 caliber pistol. And I said, "Come on, girl, let's go get them." She hopped out of bed, and I hopped out of bed, and we went out in the living room. There was nothing there, but she saw something I couldn't. Uh, so they're pretty good about letting me know. Uh, I judge off their reactions. Like there's times like I don't know if you guys have ever seen me live on here, um, but I'll hear something like walking up my ramp, and right when I react is when the dogs react. That lets me know something's there, and then that's usually when I have to get up and run and go look real quick. Most of the time, I don't ever see anything. They're pretty good about that. So we have a pretty good relationship with a lot that's around here, like with my guests. They don't bother my animals. Uh, we don't bother them. We kind of live peacefully that way. Uh, the only thing that's really gave me any concern was a recent event. I'll probably be talking about that a little bit on Sunday's live. Uh, episode 12 this Sunday is going to be about Bigfoots. I can't get into my encounters because I'm still under that contract with Lindsay Burton on the Byways of Bigfoot, which comes out March 15th. So evidence that I have, um, some of the stuff that I'm familiar with. I can't talk a lot about. I can talk about some, not a lot of things. I'll have to do another show another time about that one. Um, but this thing that came recently, which I've done some small videos on, called the Mimic, um, seems to have run not only my guest out here, but my wildlife as well. I finally, after I tested my knee out Sunday. I was talking about that in the live, which I probably shouldn't have, but I needed to be out in the woods. I got tired of not being in my woods, and I pushed a little hard, especially climbing up that tree stand to replace some batteries. I was out replacing batteries and SIM cards in my game cam, and I haven't swapped any of the SIM cards out for 2 months, and nothing. I've got two game cams that come to my phone, and I've got two game cams that I swipe out memory cards on. Both the ones I didn't swap out, and both the ones on my phone for the last 2 months, I may have got a total of 5 hits off of any kind of wildlife. Usually, there's nothing on there. I can get 20 hits a day, and I'll go through the images, and there's nothing on them. And then and that's usually the phone. The ones from the field, I can get 10 to 20 hits on them, and nothing. So last 2 months, when I considering that my property is like Grand Central Station for wildlife, I've got two different types of wolves. I've got bobcats, cougars, bears, coyotes, um, deer, turkey, squirrel, coon, possum, armadillo. Just about everything you can think of, I got that runs through my property, and I ain't got a single hit. I had 5 total hits in 2 months of deer, and I was getting they're usually running pretty quick. I think only one or two that were actually stationary, but they were on high alert. I'm hoping I answered that question for you real quick, Sue. Sorry about that. I wanted to write this one sentence down before I forgot it. Uh, yeah, it's pretty much that dealing. As soon as Byways of Bigfoot is out on YouTube and everybody's had a chance to watch it on Monday's first channel, um, I'm getting more in depth in about my guest out here and guests I've seen everywhere. Yeah, armadillos. You know, they are a destructive critter, very destructive. They will tear a ground up quick. Um, I mean, they're cool as all get out, but man, they are very, very destructive on like my yards and stuff. Yeah, we've had them for years. I mean, I've been dealing with armadillos since the '80s here, Sue. Um, now, my family is the second family to settle Anderson County, Missouri. We were in Pineville, Missouri, and so Pineville is very dear to me. Pineville is on the Arkansas border, and so we were down there all the time. Even in the '80s when we were down there, uh, yeah, it's beautiful, ain't it? I mean, Pineville. God, there's so much history and so much beauty. A lot of people don't realize, they want to tell you that the Ozark Mountains is not a mountain, and that's horse crap. The Ozark Mountains are the oldest mountain range and the largest mountain range, from what I understand, in North America alone, possibly more than that. We just had so many years of erosion and being broke down that now people call them a hill. Hey, Blue Doe, how you doing? Yeah, I'm working on my book. I just started a new one because I released the American Guard. It is out and available now. I was going to work on. I've got I got so many books I'm working on right now. So many books I'm working on right now. I was working on Draugr, Reign of the Draugr, which is another cryptid horror that I'm working on. But I felt a very large pull to this book here called The Two Brothers, War and Turmoil. And it is Norse based back during Danelaw, during England, over in England during Danelaw. I just felt a real big pull to work on this book. So that's what I'm doing. I just finished chapter 2. I've started chapter 3 now. That's what I'm working on is chapter 3. When I was on here earlier, I was editing chapter 2, which is called Mercia. And so, no, it was great. Uh, back to Pineville. Yeah, Hannibal, Missouri. I've been there. Hannibal, Missouri is very, very beautiful too. I mean, Mark Twain. Um, a lot of people don't realize that's been based out of Hannibal, Missouri. But Pineville, the Ozark Mountains, has so much ancient magic and mystery. And yeah, I have to too. It's Hannibal is a very beautiful place. Hannibal is over 8 hour drive from where I'm at now. Hannibal is a very beautiful place. Very, very beautiful. I've been up there a couple times. I really liked it up there. Got to see some of the caves up there, especially caves that Mark Twain writes about tucked in. A lot of history up there. If anybody gets a chance to go up there to visit, some of Mark Twain's stomping grounds and see the places that's in his books, I highly recommend going up there to Hannibal. Uh, Mark Twain is another author that I really liked. I, like many people, grew up off of Mark Twain. That was still talked about and taught in school. And of course, being a Missourian, Mark Twain's kind of in our blood, I guess you could say. But yeah, the magic and the history and the ancestry of the Ozark Mountains is phenomenal. And Pineville, brings that beauty, brings that mystery, brings all that to life. And I love Pineville, Missouri. Um, it's just God, it's beautiful. I need to go. I haven't been down there in a couple of years. I need to get back down there. My uncle has uh, a cabin down there on one of our old family properties. So my family, just a lot of people don't realize Jesse James and James Gang hid in Pineville quite often, and my family would hide them in Chesterman's Cave or on our farm. Um, they would use Chesterman's Branch, which if you come out of Pineville like you're heading to Little Sugar, and a creek you cross over is called Chesterman's Branch. My great great grandpa was digging in a hillside and hit water and created Chesterman's Branch. Um, so Jesse James and James Gang would use that branch. If they went to Chesterman's Cave, which overlooks Craig Lee, they would hide out in Chesterman's Cave. There's actually, I've got a book up here that's got Jesse James in it, and Chesterman's Cave's in that book, talking about how one of the caves they used to hide in. And then on our farm, in the hay barn, they'd stack up their hay bales and leave it hollowed out in the center. And Jesse James would ride in, and this James Gang would ride into that hay barn, and my family would stack up the hay bales and hide them from the posse. Yeah, misery. Yeah, yeah. Missouri's different. I say that all the time. It is, Sue. Pineville is it's not only a pretty name, it's just a beautiful place. I love Pineville. I've always had a sense of belonging and centering there. Um, but my family's got a lot of history there too, and that might be why. But to me, I can capture the magic and the mystery and the history of these mountains. Those are mountains when I'm down there. It's just your body. How do you describe it? I mean, there ain't no drug on earth like it is when you tap in to the ancient ways and the ancient times of the land, and you feel that energy and that vibration, that frequency, and it just flows through your body. Pineville does that. It really does. The mystique, the beauty, the mystery, the stories, just the life in general of Ozark Mountains and Pineville is just. Hey, William, how you doing, brother? I'm working on my book. But the beauty of it, man, it's captivating. It just takes you to your soul. In one book that I'm working on, it's called Cody Barrett: The Start of a Legend. In that book, Cody Barrett, I- I'm working on my books, and we're kind of talking about land, like Pineville and Hannibal and stuff like that, William. But one of the books I'm working on, Cody Barrett: Start of a Legend, takes place during the Civil War, and it starts out at the Battle of Little Blue River. And Cody Barrett is from Pineville, Missouri, and my family, the Testmans, are named into it because he's related to him through marriage and stuff like that. So that part of my history, my family, is in that book with that one there, and so it's fun. I mean, every one of my books, there's an essence of me and my family history in it. Even this one here, one I'm working on now, the two brothers, Warren Tormwell, um, has an element of me and my family history in it. See, my family history, yeah, they are, Sue. They are. Um, I try to capture a lot of that stuff in my writing. You know, yes, I write cryptid horror. Yes, I write historic fictions. But even though they're that way, I try to catch an element of life in general in my books. Even my sci-fi series, NR Book One, Emergence, that's out. Um, there's an element of life, element of meaning, element of truth. And any book that I write, you can actually look that location up and that terrain up, and how I describe it in my book is how that is there. Even in my sci-fi series, the planets, I'll give the NASA name for that planet, and then I'll turn around and tell you what I'm calling it in my book. So you can actually go on NASA website, type in that NASA name for that planet, and you can pull that planet up and look at it. And how I describe that planet It's how it's described on NASA's site. So I always do that. Like here, we're taking place in Mercia and Cambridge, and places like that in England. Um, yeah, see, I love it. For a long time, I had a black lab and a pit mix named Jake. Give me 1 second, guys. Sorry, folks. I didn't think she was going to call this late. It was the child's doctor I was waiting on. I was actually shocked when I seen it pop up. Um, Let me see what I missed here. Yeah, I can't wait for your show tonight, William. Um, I'm going to probably be on. I'll be on the computer because I'm working on my new book. So, yeah, I should be on there. Yeah, I mean, anytime you want me to come on, William, yeah, I'll jump on, buddy. You just let me know. Not a problem in the world. Family history is very interesting, Sue. I love family history. I try to learn as much of it as I can. You know, my family, the main part of my family hails from Norway, from Ragnar Lothbrok through Ivar the Boneless. But we're German, Irish, English, Scottish, Norwegian, Cherokee, Comanche, and Lakota. You know, on the Comanche side, if you guys know the movie John Wayne the Searchers, um, that is based off of my cousin. She was married to the last Comanche chief that ever surrendered. She died 2 weeks after being rescued because she didn't want to be rescued. She wanted to be with her husband and her kids. So that part of the movie was changed, but that movie was based off of my family down in Texas. Um, you know, we're part of the Wallace clan from Scotland. You know, when the Trail of Tears came up through Missouri, my family had married some of the Cherokee off the Trail of Tears down in Pineville, and so they was allowed to settle with my family there in Pineville during that time frame. And on the Sioux side of it, I know I got family that's still on the res, but I don't know a whole lot of history on it right now.
Where's your mug?
Which my tea mug?
Mm-hmm.
It's on my other desk, but I got to wash it out. Here,
Okay.
actually, I'm glad William's on here. I'm about ready to show something. We'll just use this one. I got a surprise from my good brother William here in a minute. But yeah, the Youngers were bad people too. I mean, I got family history with them because of Jesse James and James Gang and stuff like that. But yeah, no, it's awesome. Hey, William, you still on here, buddy? JW. Love JW. Try to get back to some of these. Mary Bluebird. That name sounds familiar. Uh-oh. What is going on with my mouse? Uh-oh. My mouse done something weird. Okay, good. Here in a minute, I got a surprise I want to show you, buddy. But yeah, they were some in it. So Jesse James and James Gang. There's a lot of history behind them, both good and bad. They were not only known as the modern day Robin Hood because they robbed from the Yanks and gave back to Confederate sympathizers and families that were destroyed by Union business people, I guess is a good way to put it. The railroad, the Pinkertons, and stuff like that. They often gave back to the family. There is the scuttlebutt, which holds a lot of truth that James was part of the Knights of Columbus, I think it is. I can't remember the name off the top of my head. Oh, John Wayne. Yeah, John Wayne. Oh, man, favorite actor of all time. But they said that to hear tell, and I can't say a whole lot. So certain people that I know are part of certain organization that Jesse James was a part of. And they kind of looked down on him for what he did because he didn't represent in a manner that he seen fit. Now, to the common folk like my family, they were very high regarded because he helped people like us that was being pushed around by union corporate people. only know that the NA is an absolute tribe with 2 last names. NA. Trying to think. Well, you want to talk about on the Native American side. Do you guys know about what is known as the 5 civilized tribes? Are you guys familiar with them? Boy, I'm brain farting. Cherokee. Okay, I gotta look it up now because I'm going to be forgetting. Let me look it up real quick. Yeah. I'm waiting on this to load up so I can look because I know Cherokee's one of them. Cherokees, Choctaws, Chickasaws, Creeks, and Seminoles. Those were the ones known as your 5 civilized tribes. What's very interesting about the DNA of the 5 civilized tribes is the 5 civilized tribes' DNA are closely related to Jews. So there's a strong belief.
Ginger, lemon, green tea.
Oh, thank you, baby girl. So this is for you, William, buddy. Trying not to spill them on my keyboard. I just got this in today, buddy. Yeah, and I grew up on them too, Sue. That's why I have fun writing Cody Barrett. And the start of the legend is because of the history, with Westerns. I grew up John Wayne, Clint Eastwood, Randolph Scott, and all them. I love that stuff. I still watch a lot of that stuff to this day, and I'm a big John Wayne. Yeah, it does, brother. It does. Give me 1 second. I've got a mixture I'm putting in with my tea. Help me get some of these minerals and stuff in me. But anyways, if you look at the DNA of those 5 civilized tribes, there's a lot of Jewish DNA in them. So they're believed to be the lost tribe of Judah, one of them. Now you can also follow some of them lost tribes of Judah into I just brain farted it. I just talked about it the other day. Not Egypt. Maybe a Roman. I can't remember off the top of my head. But anyways, them 5 civilized tribes were the tribes that had written language. They also, when presented to the cross by white man for the first time, bowed to the cross because they knew the cross. So there was a lot of stuff involved with suggesting that. So if you get a chance, kind of look that up. That'd be an interesting study if you guys want to study some of your American history and Native history about the 5 civilized tribes. Down in Georgia, I'm pretty sure it's Georgia. They have what they call, they have what they call Cherokee stones, and they look like crosses. And a lot of the stuff that was based, like the language, the written arts, the symbols, and stuff like that, is Jewish based. So it's a very interesting study if you get a chance to study it. Very, very interesting study. So I always loved reading that stuff. I love history. I'm a big fan of history. Big fan of family history. I always teach my kids, and I tell other people the exact same thing too. You need to learn your history, i.e., your family history. Take what good they did and apply that to your life. Learn the bad that they did and not make the same mistake. But your family history is who you are. That's always going to be a part of you. So learn from it and take from it. Like I was talking earlier, I was talking about the Ozark Mountains and the ancient magic that's here, that's in these mountains, and why places like this here centers me and like Pineville centers me is because you tap into that ancient energy and it helps you. Uh, my daughter's getting into now making, uh, I got to get used to drinking this left handed so the picture will show. Exactly. You're exactly. I mean, that's another good one. I mean, the Lakota medicine wheel has it in there too. And you got the great circle. Like I've said many times, that's why, my logo is circle. It's a representation of the great circle of life. We're all part of this great circle of life. Good, bad, in between. We're all a part of this great circle of life. And so I mean, there's a lot of medicine in that. A lot of medicine in that. And it's good for you to learn that kind of stuff. I apply a lot of it to my life. My daughter's learning this natural stuff, making natural teas and stuff to help with our bodies and our elements. She's been sick this week, so I went and got fresh stuff and made homemade chicken noodle soup to help her out, because that fresh homemade chicken noodle soup will do more for you than that chemical therapy the doctor will give you when you go. Too many people are too quick to run to a doctor with a sniffle. And here, I'll get a book. I want to show you guys a book real quick. Give me 1 second. I've got to get some more of my books brought up here. Here's a couple books that if you're wanting some good reads, one of them I like a lot is Spirits of the Earth. That's a good book, a good read. I've read it. It really, and the good thing about these books, no matter how many times you read it, you learn something new each time. Yeah, and Blue, it is very rare for me to go to the doctor. If I'm going to the doctor for chemotherapy, so I've said this before, and those of you who haven't watched me live before, the actual definition of chemotherapy, everybody mistakes it as cancer. You're wrong. The actual definition for chemotherapy is not cancer. It is a chemical used to alter the state of mind, or a chemical imbalance in your body. So you use a chemical to change that alteration. Yeah. So that's why I don't like it. Another good book, if you're wanting to learn some things about the old ways, this is a good one to learn, especially if shit hits the fan and you want to learn how to survive in the wilderness. Very, very, very good book here to look into. Now, to the medicine side of it, and I have to give a shout out to Carrie Pocket Doc Davis for this recommendation. And I haven't had a chance to read this. My other book is down in my other trailer. I haven't got it up yet, but I have another book that's similar to this I like a lot. Is this right here. This is a good one too. Now I have another one down there in my old trailer that I got to get brought up. It's called Native American Medicine. and it teaches you what plants are good for you and for what the cause is, kind of like what this book here does. So if you want a more of a Native American look on your medicines when you're looking into natural medicines and herbs and stuff like that, that one down there, it's I'm trying to remember the name. I'm pretty sure it's like Native or Medicines of the Woods or Woods of Medicine, something like that. Or if you want a more modern one, then get that book right there. And you can get this off. You can get them all off of Amazon. When I get a chance to go down there and bring that other book back up, I'll do it. I have other, natural survival skills, natural, nature medicine books and stuff like that down in my old place that I haven't brought up yet. I tried to do it the other day, but I had too much in my hands to be able to carry them up, so I've got to get them up here. But I'll show them one time next time I'm on there. But my daughter gets to reading this stuff a lot. She likes this stuff, and it's helpful. It's really helpful. There's a reason why I don't get sick all the time, and that's because I don't run to the dang doctor for a damn sniffle. What people have forgotten, and even more have forgotten during the dreaded COVID virus, was every time the season changes, your body expels that old season from your lungs and your insides. You get what's called a cold or a flu. Symptoms of a cold or flu: tired, loss of appetite, loss of taste, loss of smell. Where does this stuff sound familiar? I have a rose bush that I am. Yeah, rose bushes are awesome, Sue. Rose bushes are awesome. But we got a lot of cedar out here. We have a lot of other stuff. We use this land very much. Yeah, Sue, Doc, well, on DA's show, Kerry Pocket Doc Davis, him and I believe it was Robbie both, but it may have been just him. I know for a fact he did. Recommended that book, and I bought it. I've only been able to glance over it. A lot of my stuff comes from the Native American medicine book I have, Medicine of the Woods, I believe is what it's called. I love that one. And basically, what you need to do is find what plants you have in your area and go through and do your research in them books on what those plants do. Cedar's good for inflammation. Willow bark is good for pain. Your I just brain farted off the top of my head. Your milkweed, good at removing warts. There's minerals that you can take and you just make teas or you make a salve or uh, you know, so all that stuff there, your body will do so much better. You'll see a big shift in your energy, your health, and how your body does going back to the natural and the old ways. And that's why I'm always saying, yeah, I love cedar. I mean, cedar is so awesome. I love the smell of it, even in wintertime, like when I'm burning the wood stove. I either got fresh mint that I've got grows outside off of my ramp out here that I like to put in water and let that fresh mint come in. I also, in my mixed drinks, I put fresh mint, and we make fresh mint tea. All that stuff is very, very good for you. Garlic, huge garlic guy. A lot of people don't realize, and this is funny because this is actually where the wise tale of garlic and vampires come from. Anything that is survives off of blood does not like garlic. So if you want to keep skeeters down, ticks down, leeches down, stuff like that, eat lots of garlic. I eat garlic pretty much on everything. I love garlic, and I don't get near the skeeter bites, near the tick bites, or the leeches that bother me. What the hell are you going nuts over? Boy, the little Mexican jumping bean just went nuts. It's a little long-haired chihuahua we got. But I mean, a lot of that stuff is good and it's natural. And it's right outside your door. A lot of the stuff you can find right outside your door. You just need to go out and do it. And we have been conditioned so many ways. Actually, I do, Sue. Yes, I do. So how do I put this? I don't like to talk a whole lot about this. See, I served 13 years for deployments, and I've how do I put this? Let's just say things come in your sleep. Them dream catchers actually help a lot. I keep my dream catcher in my window, and my window faces east, the direction of birth, the start of life, the start of knowledge, the start of your path, east. So when that morning sun rises, the first thing it does is hit that dream catcher and destroys them bad dreams. But yeah, yeah, I mean, ticks can be a bad thing, Sue. They really can. And but garlic, I mean, I know you may not like it. You know, thistle's very good too. Thistle is good for I can't remember off the top of my head now. I believe you can make a tea out of it or a salve. It might be a salve, and it helps out a lot. Daggone, Bucky, you bark at the littlest thing, little dude. He's still out there going nuts. Yeah, he's a little jumping bean. That little thing will jump straight up in the air. I mean, it's like this itty bitty little dog, and he could jump in the freaking air from a standstill. It's weird. I'll be laying on the side of my bed and I'll look over and all you see this little brown long haired little thing, bink, bink, bink. It's funny as all get out. But yeah, I mean, so you know that's why like these books here. Yeah, they work. They work, Sue. They really do. I can look it up real quick because that's bugging me. I cannot remember what thistle. I want to recharge my mouse. It looks like it's starting to act up. A quick look. Yeah, milkweed thistle. Yeah, it's good for it's good for warts. Let's see, terms milkweed, milk thistle, and silymarin are often used in changeably. Historically, people have used milk thistle for liver. That's what it was. Liver disorder and gallbladder problems. Um, Milk thistle is promoted as a dietary supplement for hepatitis. I can't even. I don't speak Latin, so you're gonna have to forgive me. Cirrhosis or whatever, jaundice, diabetes, indigestion, and other conditions. So yeah, I mean that stuff works. Yeah, I mean that's good. I mean I live out in the middle of nowhere, Sue. I live out in the middle of the woods. Um, I love it out here. I can't. My neighbors can't see me. Nobody can see me from the road, and that's kind of living I love. Um, but yeah, garlic is a very good deterrent for that stuff. Not only that, it's good for your heart and your blood too. Garlic has a lot of medical properties. Oh. So I mean, there's I can't say that, Sue. So I mean, you're blessed. I really I cannot say that for myself. I have different kinds of dreams. Um, a lot of my dreams are very, very, very yes, that one there, Sue. Um, very realistic. Very, very realistic. The smells, the taste, the touch, the sounds, the feelings. I feel them in my dreams. I've had dreams of waking from inside a teepee, hearing explosions and gunshots, and I'm running through a prairie being chased down by cavalry officers and being shot in the back. Um, need to get them out. They're helpful, Sue. Um, I've had dreams that the world had ended and I was leading a modern style um, wagon train to settle new areas and rebuild. I've had dreams where I've fought monsters and aliens and creatures of all different kinds. And, I was sent in to save these people from these attacks. And I could feel everything, every impact. I can smell it, I can hear it. That I woke up with ears ringing from an explosion. I mean, a lot of my dreams are that way. So, if you listen to one theory, when you sleep, your body is transported to another place by the Galactic Republic or whoever it is, and you're tasked with doing, liver issues. That's now milk thistle's good for that. Um, and that's why you're always tired when you wake up and you have dreams like that because you're not actually sleeping. You're transported into another place to do something. That is one theory. One theory is that you are intact with ancient. What's a good way of putting this on here? Ancient abilities, I guess you can say, uh, and you're reliving past lives, past experiences, and seeing things ahead of time. So, I mean, I personally I don't know what it is. I just know that's something I deal with all the time.
You want more?
Yeah.
You want more? There's more.
Oh yeah, definitely. Thank you.
Mhm.
That's my buddy William Nighthawk's cup I got, so I had to show it to him. Dreams are a very big messenger, Sue. Dreams can be one of two things. They can be a message of past, present, or future, or they can be just complete nothing. Um, you have to be very careful interpreting dreams. Yes, it is. I mean, you have to know. Thank you. You have to know the difference between what is just your mind doing whatever it's doing, or is this a message from another time or another place? I mean, some of them dreams when I'm fighting these monsters or these aliens, I'm on another planet. You know, what does that tell me? Either A, it tells me that my warrior spirit's always going to live on, and no matter where I'm at, I'm always going to defend those who can't defend themselves. I live by a code: protect the weak, help the helpless, support those who can't support themselves. Like an elderly woman that can't go out and hunt for her food, you go out and hunt and help her get her food. Take care of your elders, respect your elders. Your elders, the wisdom of your elders is a very, very important part of a human's life. And we've gotten away from that family aspect and that aspect of respecting our elders and learning from our elders. Yeah, I mean it. So when you try to interpret and blah 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 blah, interpretate them, Sue, be very very careful. Um, because some dreams can just be real outlandish and has no rhyme or reason to them. And most of the time, those are going to be dreams that are just your mind's doing something weird. A lot of times, fear can play into that when it comes to dreams too. And you can have a unknown fear about something, and it'll cause you to have some weird ass dreams, and you're thinking, "Oh, this means something." It really don't mean nothing. It's your fears are playing out in your dreams. Your dreams is another vision that you have. You have different visions. You have the visions with your eyes and the visions with your mind. So your fears can actually interfere with your vision of your mind, which will cause stuff like that. So be very mindful when it comes to that. You're getting really good at making this tea, sweetheart. Oh, she can't hear me. But yeah, that's and I mean it's something to get into. Yeah. Yeah, I had a so my great grandmother Smith, she was full blooded Cherokee. Funny enough, she was very racist against Native Americans, and she was full blooded Cherokee. Um, she can have her back turned to you, and you be looking through something, and you won't say what you're looking for. You're looking for something. She's got her back towards you. She'll be like, second cabinet, third shelf, back row, middle, and you go there, and exactly what you're looking for, it's right there where she just described it. Me and my mom would have a deal. We knew when we needed one each other, we can feel it, and we'd call one each other. I mean, I could be clear across the world on a different side of the world, and call her up. Hey, mom, what's up? I got this feeling. That stuff plays very, very largely in my life. Now, something I don't talk about. I really don't like talking about it. There is a part of my family history that I'm not very proud of, and it's on my Smith side. And my Smith side of my family practiced the dark arts, and most of them have died horrible, painful, agonizing deaths because they dabbled in that stuff. And a lot of them were full of anger and hate and stuff like that all the time. Constantly trying to one up another family, constantly using a family member to their benefit. This is the stuff they practice. This is what this gets you into. That's why I'm not a big fan of the dark arts. Um, Not only because it's demonic, uh, because I personally have seen what it does to the person who practices it. I don't know if William's in here. He can probably confirm what I'm talking about. I'm just trying to put it in a more nicer term, I guess you can say, than what I usually call it. But that is a side of my family that I'm just not very proud of. To me, I mean, people call this, they say there's dark magic and there's white magic, blah blah blah. I'm not I mean, it could be true. I don't know enough about it to say hey or nay. To me, what I think they consider white magic is actually healers, natural healers. I'm into that. I love what nature. You want to go. We'll go biblical here for a moment. For the Christians out there, uh, God said He created man to be shepherds of the earth. He created life from the animals and from the plants, and we are the shepherds of the earth. Those plants and animals are here for our nourishment and our use. It is sad, Sue. I don't know if you ever heard me talk about my very first ghost experience. My mom's mom was the first ghost experience I ever had. Donna Rose Testerman. She was a smith, and she had a lot of issues that took her life, and she ended up taking her life. Um, but she was very clingy to me. Um, so when she died, um, that's why she came back and said, "Eric, I love you and I always protect you." I have issues with that and concerns because of what that side of my family was a part of. Now, the Testament side of my family were Mormons. So my mom's dad was Mormon when he married my grandma Donna. They were in the Mormon religion. My dad or my grandpa would stop paying his tithes, and my grandma got on birth control. So my grandpa got a wooden. Yeah, I mean, you can probably confirm what I was talking about. What it does, I don't like to talk about it a lot, William. That's why I'm blessed to have you, so I don't have to. Just because there's a lot of bad memories with that comes with that. Um, a lot of crap I've seen that happen to my family. A lot of division in my family from it. A lot of needless, horrible deaths to family members that wasn't even practicing it. If that makes sense. Um, yeah, Sue. Always walk the light. Always walk positivity. That's what I do. That's what I talk about. Maybe I'm wrong for thinking this way. Yeah, exactly, William. I never practiced that stuff. I just seen with my own eyes what it does. That's my knowledge of that world. And that was enough for me to go, I want no damn part of that crap because I've seen what happens. I've heard things that come from the darkness to take things away. Um, I've seen what that stuff does to families. I've seen what it does to people that I love very dearly. There's been a lot of needless death and stuff that deals with that. Yeah, and yeah, I was talking about that one day on your show, William. That was a small hint of my knowledge in it. But I am blessed to have you as my friend and be on shows with you because that's your domain. That's not mine, and I don't like talking about it because I could be wrong. I feel that if I'm talking about it, I'm inviting it into me. So I try to avoid that, not to, because I don't want that. I know my mentality. I know. Um, Here, give me 1 second, guys. I'm gonna shut my door real quick. My daughter's friends here, so they're getting noisy. Come here, Snow. I'm staying in here. Okay, so I've talked about this on my shows and William's shows before. When I lose my temper, I do not realize anything that goes on. Um, and the things that happen, if you listen to the stories of Berserker, that's kind of where my mindset goes. Um, when my oldest was born, before she was born, I was with the death of Cheryl. The one true love I actually had, and I've never been able to find a love like hers since. Uh, Thank you, William. Same with you, my brother. Um, with her death, uh, part of me died. I became something. What's a good way of putting it? I became something else. I became someone else, and I became cold, and I became dead inside. I cared not for anybody's life, anybody's well-being, anybody's anything. Yeah, I mean, I ain't gonna lie, I watched the old movies, Beastmaster, uh, but I have to be careful because I walked in that cold, dark, anger, hate-filled life for so long. When Cheryl died, um, I can be easily drugged back into that. I have not learned how to completely block that from my life. That is one of the reasons why I stay a lot away from politics right now, because I get so angry with what's happening to my country and the treason and everything that's happening, that I feel that berserker rage inside of me build up. And the best way I can describe when that happens, the only way you satisfy that creature when it comes out is with a lot of blood and destruction. That's the best way I can describe it. When my oldest was born, I looked at her and I was like, I can't be that man. I can't be that man that throws his life away willingly, didn't care if he lived or died, didn't care about anybody else's life or well being. I can't be that man no more. That person. I can't be that thing. Um, and then my youngest was born a year later. But anyway, let me step back. So when she was born is when I started down my path of redirecting my energy in my life. Um, I had a purpose. I had something that filled a darkness within me. And then my youngest was born about a year later. And that's why I've told the girls several times when they were younger, it's like, you guys have saved me in a way that you could never understand, because I've walked down that path in life. I know that coldness. I know that emptiness. I know that hunger for destruction, the hunger for hate, the hunger for pain, the hunger for causing pain to others, the thrill of fear and the control you have over somebody with fear. I know that life, and I don't want that. So when they were born, they changed my life. I often wondered if I'd be here now if it wasn't for the birth of my kids. I mean, their mother was not. Anyways, but it was my kids. You know, my kids is what saved me and it pulled me from that dark spot in my life. Whatever it's called, I don't know. To me, I always call it that beast within me. And I'll never be able to get rid of that beast that's caged up inside of me. You guys ever heard of the Native American proverb? You have two wolves that live within you. You have a white wolf and a black wolf. Whatever wolf you feed the most is the wolf that will surface within you. Now if you feed one, you can't starve out the other. The other is always going to be there. But depending on what wolf you feed is the wolf that resonates within you and others see. I walk the path now of trying to keep the white wolf fed. That is the path that I try to walk. So a lot of stuff, in my life, I've seen a lot of death. I've seen a lot of evil, evil, evil in my life. That's why I like writing these books. Writing books for me, even though I'm not a good reader, I'm not a good speller, and I'm not a good writer. Yeah. I mean, that's where you got to be, Sue. I mean, uh, yeah, and that's the thing. I walked that road that animalistic road of side of me for a reason. I learned from it. I also learned that it's not a path that you want to walk. So, I mean, you're absolutely right, William. You're 100% right. But I never got into that portion or that kind of stuff in my life to the degree that, some of my family did. Um, some other people I know did. I always had enough of that white wolf showing that I didn't venture too far. And I think my kids are, even though the marriage with my second wife, my kids' mom ended the way it did, still deal with what I deal with. I believe it was done for a reason because I wouldn't have my two girls. And they saved my life. On the same token, that beast is always within me. And it don't take much for that beast to flare up. And if I'm ever pushed to let that beast out, I don't know what would happen. I've learned how to control it. But if I'm pushed to the brink, can I? And that's a fear I have. If I'm pushed to that brink again, can I still control that? Or has it been pent up so long that I can't? That is something I fight with every single day. I fight to keep that thing caged up inside of me and buried. Exactly, William. And that's why I was talking about that proverb, a Native American proverb about the white wolf and the black wolf. To me, it's another. There you go. I mean, that's another instance of an ancient teaching that we forgot about that I think would personally help people nowadays. Is you got to remember stuff like that. I mean, if you look at it too, the proverb of the white wolf and the black wolf is the same problem Chinese proverb of yin and yang, good and evil. Where there's the message behind these stories is there's good and evil inside all of us. Whatever side of it you decide to feed, that's the one that manifests. So I mean, that's it. Chinese didn't know about the Native Americans. Native Americans didn't know about Chinese. So how could they have a similar story and not know about each other if it's not true? So that's why I love that stuff, and that's why I always try to pass it on to everybody else. Even in my books, if you read what I write in my books, there's always that element of that beast in me in my books, and there's always that element of how I am in my books because that's life. That's how we are, and to ignore it will serve you no justice. So I agree. I mean, that's why I write it in here. Even in this book here, for those who's listened to it earlier when I was having it reading out, you can hear the two different sides of human nature in that book when I was doing that editing on it. That's how I write because it's true. So there's always truth, even in my writings. There's always truth. So it's fun. But yeah, no, I mean you bring up some good questions, Sue. I appreciate that. That and all of it, regardless if you believe it or not, all of it plays into what I write. So I mean it goes good with this here. I mean, this is just me writing a book and kind of talking about it. It's starting to get hot in here. I want to turn this fan on a little bit and cool me down. It's getting hot in here. Let's take off all our clothes. I can't do that on YouTube. Never mind. Yes, snow. Hi, buddy. Um, yeah, I'm looking forward to your show tonight, William. Didn't mean to get off on a deal there. Sue brought up some good points, and I figured it was good to talk about it. I'm going to throw this mouse on a charger real quick. I won't be able to click through messages, but I can still talk. Well, maybe I can. There it goes. Give it a charge for a little bit. Yeah, and that's kind of what I was hinting at a little bit ago, William. You know, I was meant to walk that path for a reason. Do I wish it had went another way to walk down that path? Yeah, but everything in life happens for a reason and a purpose. Regardless if we like it or not, it happens for a reason and a purpose. So even though the pain that I went through that caused me to walk down that path of my life when I was younger, I would not wish on my worst enemy. It's a pain that only some know the pain that I'm talking about. Well, and that's what I'm here for, Sue. I mean, granted, yes, is this book about me, or is this live about me writing my book? Yeah. But if you got questions, I'm going to answer. I'm not going to leave you hanging dry. I'm not like a lot of them other people out there. I'm not stuck just because I'm doing I mean, look at what the birth of the Campfire Chats with Eric and Guest. That started out with me doing a live, writing on Berrigan Guard, Book 1, House of Battle. And look what came from that. I am not against, if you have a question, regardless if it's related to the live that I'm on at the time, you know, either me working on my book or you know, Campfire Chats with Eric and Guest, or you know, the Bizarre and the Unknown, or if I'm on with William, or if I'm on with anybody else, you got a question, I'm going to do my best to answer it. If I don't know the answer, I'll give you kind of my thoughts on it, and I'll try to find the answer for you. Yeah, I mean, okay. Google is a double-edged sword, Sue. Google will tell you what they want you to know. You really have to dig deep to find out what is true and what's not. So you have to be very careful with Google. My advice is find an elder or somebody that's very knowledgeable in what you're wanting to know. You'll get a better source of information from that than you would Google. Heck yeah, William. Sometimes we feel like a nut, sometimes we don't. Now it's stuck in my head too. Yeah. See, and that's. I don't know the pain, that kind of pain to the level that you do, Sue. Yes, women in my life has had miscarriages, but the pain of holding your child and raising your child and losing, I don't know that. I don't want to know that. I really don't want to know that. And my heart aches for anybody that has had to experience that. For those you don't know, Cheryl was my one true love. It was perfect. I mean, we were inseparable. And I got into a lot of trouble, which sent me away, which ended up leading to her death because of my love, or our love we had for each other. And yeah, well, you got more sources too now. So you got William, you got me. I mean, and I don't remember who all else you follow. I think I've seen you on DAs before. There's other sources out there for information that you need. William is a very, very, very knowledgeable man, a very good source of information. And I know he wouldn't have an issue to try to help you out. William has a heart of gold, man. That's why I love the hell out of William. Sue, you will grow more than you know in the next few months. The walk isn't easy, but you can grasp the air without effort. You're exactly right. You're exactly right, William. Um, that takes you back to another Native American proverb. There's two roads. You have the red road, which is rocky, it's hilly, it's bumpy, it's hard, and you struggle going up that road. But at the end, the rewards of walking the red road, the good road, the true road, is unbelievable. Then you have the black road. It's smooth, it's flat, it's easy to walk down. You can hop, skip, and jump and cartwheel all the way down that road. But at the end, the results not so glamorous. I do too, and a lot of it stems with everything I've dealt in my life. Um, I've dealt with a lot of death. I've dealt with a lot of death close to me, a lot of needless death. I've dealt with a lot of death in my life. I'm not wise, Sue. I appreciate it. I'm not wise. I learn. My great grandpa, or no, my grandpa Steinman. My grandpa Steinman wasn't my true grandpa, but he adopted me into the family. He's my half brother's dad, or grandpa. He always said something, and my great grandpa Testerman always taught me stuff when I was younger, and they both had the same saying. And a man or a woman never stops learning until the day they die. But even on the day of death, they still are learning something. Yeah. He sounds like an amazing man, Sue. He really does. You know, who's wise? The man that says he's wise, or the fool that follows the man that says he's wise? Yeah, that's. I laugh about that every time I think about that because there's a lot of truth to it. There's a lot of truth in that. Wisdom is not really. You gain wisdom by life, and you gain life by knowledge, and you gain knowledge by wisdom. So, is one man truly wise, or is he just knowledgeable? Question. And if you're stoned, you're welcome for that. I'm sorry to hear that, Sue. I lost my mom around the same time. I almost was gone that same time too. So I'm by far a wise man. I'm just a man with knowledge, a man with questions, and a man with a desire to learn. I'm always learning. I'm always learning something new. I love it. I love learning new stuff, man. Good or bad. Like we was talking about work yesterday. I've got a new kid that's started, and I've been kind of training him and working with him. And we were kind of smoking and joking at work, getting ready to go home. And what the hell is that? Hold on 1 second. I ain't doing much. I'm sorry, something distracted me. I thought I seen something in my trees there, but I think it was just paradola. What was we talking about now? Yeah, I mean, wisdom. Oh man, it's you got to live a good life, man. I can never preach that enough. You got to live a good life. You want good rewards, you got to live a good life. With the changes, and I'm not trying to get to, let's say, yes, William, yes, skywalking through dreamland is a way of learning beyond mankind's leisure and mind. We strive for the stars, and some people never see the stars because they never cleared away the clouds. You're absolutely right. Um, like I was talking to the guys at work when we were smoking and joking, getting ready to go home. I was like, I find something very fascinating, and I love studying these type of people. And you may think it's weird, but in all actuality, if you stop and think about it, it's not. Yeah, there's a lot of people like that, Sue. Um, I love how the mind of a serial killer works. The mind of an evil person that does evil things. I love how it works because a lot of people don't realize most of your people that are like that are extremely intelligent. And my theory, I mean, this is just my theory on why they are this way, is because they have gained so much intelligence on something that they become numb to life. Therefore, life has no value. Nobody's life has value to them, not even their own. And but if you actually study these people, how they were able to manipulate, how they were able to control, how they was able to do the things that they do, and the fact that they have no remorse for anything they did. Not only are you pure evil, but think about the intellect that they have. Study, if you get a chance, study people like that. I wish I was doing some of that, Sue, but unfortunately, with my job, I can't. Now, when I retire, that's going to be a different story. I gave up, um, and I can talk about it because it's not illegal. I love weed. I smoked weed for years. It helps. I have restless brain syndrome, and I'm hyperactive. My brain don't shut down. That's why I struggle sleeping. My brain don't shut down. That's why I'm always constantly learning things. Instead, just I got to keep my mind occupied, or I go nuts. Um, I'm at work. I'm listening to podcasts, or I'm listening to books, or I've got to have something that keeps my mind focused, or I go insane. That's why I like writing because it centers my focus on something and calms my brain down. Um, but weed, if I smoked it like 30 minutes before I went to sleep, I was able to sleep through the night without waking, without tossing and turning, and it helped with my pain. You know, I jumped out of helicopters for 13 years of my life. All I've ever done was military, farming, mechanicing, and fighting. My body is riddled with arthritis and pain from head to toe. I live with pain every single freaking day of my life. And that stuff helped with it. I wish if everything works out right, I am set up to retire at 55. I'm 44 now. I'll be 45 here in a couple months. That's true. True, William. If you dream of storms all the time, you'll never find the rainbow in the calming of the rain. You're exactly right. You know, and there's that old saying, the storm, you have to face the storm in order to find the relief from it. Oh, that's good, Sue. That's good. I'm glad we do. So if you want to better your life, you have to face that storm head on and you have to fight your way through that storm. Once the storm passes, the sun's out, the rainbows are out. It's beautiful. Everything's clean. Everything sparkles. You know, I wish I can find that book of the poems I wrote several years ago. So I wrote a poem for all 4 seasons. All 4 seasons have a purpose, has a meaning, and has a what's a good way of putting it? Yeah, it sucks big time, Sue. It has a purpose and a meaning. Okay, so we'll start with winter, and this is just the basics. I'm going off of memory. I can't find my book that I had it written in, and I wrote this probably about 15, 20 years ago. Um, so winter, when winter comes on, anything that is dead or weak or sick is destroyed by winter. When winter destroys the dead, the weak, the sick, it also puts nutrients back in the ground for life. It allows a chance for new life to sprout come spring. So when spring comes, you have rebirth. So winter is death, spring is rebirth. Okay, so this is how we're following this here. In spring, you have rains, you have new growth, you have vitality, you have life, you have love, you have all that stuff. That's spring. So the rains come in, and all the dead that winter caused and winter made is washed away by the rains of spring. When that rain washes away the dead, it leaves um, it leaves room for new growth and birth. My mom's death was hard on me too. Yeah. Uh, so then after spring, you have summer. Now during summer, yeah, you have heat. The rebirth that is not strong is destroyed by the sun. Yes, that's true. But you still have growth. You still have beauty. You still have peace. So there's still life. So in summer, there's still life. So if winter is death, spring is rebirth, summer's life. So I'm just saying this kind of keep you on track on this. Then comes fall. Now in fall is when life starts to dwindle back, starts to go dormant. The leaves change, they fall, the saps go into the roots and get stored up to protect themselves from the winter. So fall is like old age. Fall is your old age period. And some of your old age will survive the fall throughout the winter to bring on new life come spring. But all your seasons are the all 4 stages of your life: birth, adulthood, old age, and death. So anybody who tries to tell you that nature is not a living thing, they don't look right out their window. They don't go outside their door and see life, the cycle of life, every single day when they look out that window or they walk out that door. So nobody can tell me that nature is not life or living when the cycles of life is every day outside that door. That's just a rough paraphrase. If I can ever find my book, I'm probably will post something on that. I've been wanting to. I just don't remember where I put it. And I wrote this about 15, 20 years ago. Um, I just came back from Iraq when I wrote it. And it was something that laid heavy on my heart, so I wrote it down. But that's just kind of a rough draft of what that is. Spring is coming, yes. I'm looking at my window now, seeing spring as it is. I'm seeing new life, new growth. I'm seeing love. I'm seeing happiness. I'm seeing joy. I see birth. We are in the season of birth right now. So, you know, I'm either right or wrong on that analogy, but I mean, it's mine. It's how I perceive life outside this window, and how I perceive life when I walk out that door every day. You know, you got to be You got to be connected to nature. We're all a part of nature. from the blade of grass or the ant to the eagle in the sky or the raven or the clouds, the brains of Ymir, even the skull of Ymir, the sky. However it is you want to call what you see out here, the heavens, the cloud world, the whatever it is that you see. Sorry, Corey's just messaged me. We was talking about his amulet earlier when I done that short video called Corey's Encounters. Um, he had sent me a picture. I don't know if I have permission to talk about it, so I'm not going to talk about it right now. But of something that his friend found, and very, very, very intriguing, very, very cool. I don't think he knows I'm live right now. I don't know if he does or not. But he showed me these pictures, and I was like, dude, that's what this is. To me, that's what I see this is. So we were talking about his amulet, which is what I talked about in his short story that he was telling me about in Corey's Encounters. And I was kind of telling him what I saw from it. So he's like, oh man, yeah, I see that now. So, but yeah, now, I mean, that's just, I don't know, man. It's not really, to me, it's not wisdom. It's just life, experiences I've lived in life, the good, the bad, and the ugly, baby. It's life. I tell my kids all the time, man, life's going to kick you in the balls and headbutt you to the ground. It's up to you to get up to your feet, stand up, wipe the blood from your nose, and hit it back. You can't let life beat you down. You got to stand up, stand your ground, and fight back. Because if you let life beat you down, you'll always be down. So I don't know if that's YouTube appropriate or not, but that's kind of my sentiments on life, I guess you can say. So I don't know how long it takes. I just got this mouse in, so I don't know how long it takes to charge. It's Sue. It's a good one. And Juno's guest or Juno's visitors is another good one too. But Corey shared some really, really cool stuff. I had fun doing that short video. I'm still learning how to do a lot of this stuff. So I'm constantly trying to improve my lives, my short stories, constantly trying new things to make it pop, make it entertaining for everybody. Because this stuff is not just entertaining, but it's educational too. So, you know, I love doing that stuff. I love sharing people's stories. If they got stories, that's why I tell them, email me. I'll do a video on it. I love it. I love doing that stuff. I love hearing what people experience in their life. It's an amazing what kind of world is outside that door. And you just have to get off your, well, I'll either get in trouble for saying this or not. You just got to get off your ass and go out there and experience it. Life is the greatest teacher, Sue. You're absolutely right. Life is an amazing teacher. Starting to get dark, so I want to turn some of these lights on here, these LEDs. There we go. Should be able to brighten up my pretty little face, my chunky little face. Yeah, life's the greatest teacher in the world. And it's up to you to learn from that or not. Nobody can force you to learn life. You just got to do it or you don't. And in the immortal words of the wise and great and all-knowing Yoda, you either do or do not. No in between. That is life. You do or you do not. No in between. What is your problem, little dude? Come on. You little internet whore. Come on. There you go. You're spoilt rotten. You know that? Yeah, you're spoilt rotten. My little buddy. Yeah. I know. I'm on live, so you can't be trying to French kiss me, dude. That's not right. You're a dude. I'm a dude. You can't be doing that. Top. Yes, I have to catch up now. I've heard about your channel after being on William's channel. Yeah, I appreciate it. I love doing this stuff. I have my non-formal one, which goes on Saturday night, and that's the campfire chats with Eric and guests. And we can, it's a safe place for you to come in if you have experiences you want to talk about, and you can talk about it in chat. If you want to come on live, and we can talk about it and see how it goes, I'll bring you on there live. We can do that. It's not a problem. And then my formal stuff is the Bizarre and the Unknown, which is Sunday nights. Um, I decided because of the Bigfoot docu-series that I'm part of is being released March 15th. I am going to do an episode Sunday on Bigfoot. Yeah, I love Yoda. I'm going to do an episode Sunday on Bigfoot, but I cannot discuss my personal experiences to the most part. Ride or die, hell yeah. He just got through going on a ride with me earlier. He's my little buddy. When Mom passed away, I ended up getting him, and me and him is helped each other through some pretty dark stages since Mom's death. He's my little buddy, but he's an internet whore. Ever since he got his first taste of being on the internet, he's every time I'm live, he's got to be right up my butt. Anytime he thinks I'm on live, he's got to be up here. He's like, "Yeah, look at me. I'm a white little rat dog that loves to hog attention." Yeah, you're my little buddy. Yeah, my buddy. You're on my buddy. Pain in my butt, but you're my buddy. Yeah. Just go ahead and rest on my shoulder there. Take a little nap, because that's what you want to do. Oh, wait, am I getting away from your camera? Oh, I caught on to what you're doing, so now you want to shy away. I see how you are. Turkey butt. But, yeah, he's my little buddy. So, this is Snow, my late mom's dog. And I've got my other buddy, which is, he's outside protecting girls. He's my pit bull named Thor. And he was a Christmas present from my buddy a little over a year ago. And and that's actually a very common thing, Sue. Believe it or not, it's actually very common. I don't know if you caught when I've talked about it on my shows or on William's show about what I've had here. I'm going to be talking a little bit about it probably on my show, just because of what I know. Yeah, he thinks he is, Sue. He really does. A theory that I have, which really it's both disturbing, but also confirms a theory that I've had of what I've had out here recently, which is something very, very new, and it's evil. Yeah, it is very, very evil. It's something that I've been having to deal with. Oh, that was my daughter. I seen something walking through the bushes. I was like, "What the hell?" And it was my daughter. Um, I'm looking out my window. My window's here to the east, and in my new office here, and I've got my desk right by my window. Of course, my old desk was by the window too. I love when I'm writing, looking out my window. I love looking at my woods and seeing things out there. I love watching all the animals and everything like that. Okay, so what I speak is not. Yes, technically, it is a type of Germanic language. Um, I speak Norse. I've been learning Norse. A lot of people don't realize the Norse or the Danes are a Germanic tribe. That's why the language is very similar. So back in the days, like when this book here takes place, you had your Saxons and you had your Anglo. You know, um, Hey, Griff, how's it going, buddy? Um, the reason why the, uh, I believe it was the Anglo side of it, they were able to communicate with the Danes better is because they're a type of Germanic tribe as well. So, where German, no is nine, and Norse, it's nine. Yeah, daughter monsters for sure. And stop, stoppe, come here, come heat, and then seats and boys. They're very very. The difference between like Dane or Norse and your typical German language that you know of is the same as here in the U.S. You got the Yanks and you got the Southerners. So I have a Southern accent. Well, your Danes are like your Southerners and your Germans are like your Yank. So when I'm going nine or stoppe or come heat or seats or boys, that's because I'm speaking North, and I've learned that they respond to that. Now the background with Snow here, Snow was my uncle's Korean girlfriend's dog when she lived in Texas. Mom lost her miniature poodle Snow, and it devastated mom. And my uncle's girlfriend couldn't take care of Snow no more. Well, Snow does not like people. Snow really does not like people. He is Snow. We'll just leave him. He's Snow's funny. So, but he kind of took to mom pretty good. He's better with females than he is males. But my uncle's girlfriend raised him, and so he was raised around her and her mom. So Snow and me never got along when we first met. And one day I was getting on my girls in the living room, and he was sitting in my mom's lap, and he snipped at me. Well, I knocked the hell out of him. I knocked him out of my mom's lap, and he went sliding across the living room floor and hit the entertainment center. I said, "You're going to learn your place now," and that's just the bottom line. You're not the alpha dog. I'm the alpha dog. Well, ever since then, me and him's been buddies. Now, he never liked my dad. Now, unless my dad had food on his plate, he never liked my dad. Um, he's warmed up to my girls quite a bit over the years. So when mom passed away and dad couldn't, hey, what's up, Yank? um, so when mom passed away, dad couldn't do anything with him because dad didn't like him. So he's like, "Here, you got yourself a new dog." So it's been me and Snow ever since. Well, I found it funny that, my uncle's girlfriend is Korean, but he listens to Norse very, very well. So anytime I get onto my dogs, it's usually Norse. When I give a command to my dogs, a lot of times I throw Norse in there because I've realized that they respond to that very well. So that's part of the reason why I started learning some Norse was to incorporate that in the handling of my dogs because they seem to adhere to the command a lot easier than they do English. Now, they also adhere to the tone of voice, and they are trained. When I give them a look, they're like, "Oh crap, we pissed off Dad." you know, we we mucked something up bad, and Dad is mad. So sometimes I can get by with just a look and not a command, and they know, yep, okay, I'm taking my little butt to bed because I done jacked up. So they're animals are living beings too. They have a soul. They have a personality. They have feelings. Snow gets very, very depressed when I'm not around. Um, if you ever watch my lives or lives I've been on, Snow is always there. No matter where I'm at when I'm home, Snow is with me, either at my feet or like he is right now. He does not leave my side. So when I have to leave for either work or go a place that I can't take him, he gets very, very depressed and he won't eat. He won't do nothing. He'll just crawl in my bed under my blankets, or he'll crawl in his bed under his blanket and stay there until I get home. He he has very he gets very depressed with separation. So that's why, anytime I've ever done lives or anything, that's why he's always there, because that's just how he is. That's just his personality. I mean, he's chosen me and I've chosen him, and we're buddies. And he'll get to nipping at my heels because he loves going on car rides. He used to not to, but he loves going on car rides now. So if he gets a chance, he hears my keys jingle, his ears perk up, and he can be a dead sleep at the other side of the house. If he hears them keys jingle, yeah, buddy. One second, guys. Sorry. Cole sent me a picture. I was kind of responding to it. Yeah, he's a Velcro dog. You're absolutely right. But it's so funny because as soon as I get home, he's like a little white fuzzball of energy, and he's just 90 to nothing. And all my animals know the sound of my motorcycle, know the sound of my truck. And it's funny as I'll get out, because I'll park my motorcycle and shut it off, or I'll back my truck up into place and shut it off. And all you hear is these dogs howling because they know I'm home. Now, if my daughter's home before I am, she lets them out. They're all chasing me down the drive, follow me, and trying to jump around like little Mexican jumping beans, trying to get excited because daddy's home. Griff had a squirrel moment. So yeah, he's Velcro, man. That's just Bucky and Romeo. You know who they are. Yeah, that's Kira and Jessica. No, stoppe. 9. 9. Good boys. But yeah, and it's a lot of people they get an animal and they just see an animal as property, you know, as something they can carry around. Go, look what I have! I have a dog. They don't stop to realize and learn each of their personalities. My cats have their own personality. Each of my dogs have their own personality. That's not uncommon, Sue. I had a cat named Rose um, when before my oldest was born, and we were stationed at Fort Benning, Georgia, and she she was my baby. She literally talked. She said, "I love you, yes or no," and she was straight up 100% my cat. And everywhere I was, she was. And like if I was working on an engine, she'd be up there in that engine with me, putting her paws on my hand, helping me turn a wrench. She knew when I got home and she was waiting outside the gate, and wait till I pulled up, parked my truck, and then she'd walk around my truck and wait for me to get out my door, climb up my leg, and perch herself on my shoulder. Um, she would climb in the bathtub with me when I was taking a bath, soaking, and she would sit there in the tub with me on my belly in the water, soaking up with me. And which is funny too. And this is the only cat I've ever had do this, but she pooped in the toilet. And I used to get so mad at my ex-wife. How the hell are you going to crap in the toilet and not flush it? Yeah, yeah. I love animals. They're a different type of being to me, or human being to me. But I used to get so mad at my ex-wife because I'd go in and go poop, and there's like these turds floating in the toilet, and I just, oh my god, I hate that. Oh, I hate that. I really, really, really hate walking into a toilet and seeing turds floating in that thing. We have a flusher for a damn reason. Flush it. So I used to get mad. Well, I had to eat crow because I got up one night, went to go pee, and I looked up and I see this little black thing sitting on my toilet. Of course, it's dark and I can't really make this out. I'm like, what the hell is on my damn toilet? So I turned the hallway light on. Lo and behold, it was my cat Rose pooping in the toilet. Sometimes I wonder. So, yeah, that was one of the very few times that I had to eat crow because I was wrong about something. It wasn't my ex-wife leaving floaters in the toilet. It was my cat Rose. So from then on, I tried to teach her. So I'd leave the toilet seat up from then on. I was like, well, hell yeah, if you're going to crap in the toilet, I ain't got to clean out a kitty litter box. She crapped and pissed in the toilet. So go for it, dude. Hell yeah. Never taught her. She just, she was, she was like Velcro. I mean, everywhere I went, she was. So every time I went to the bathroom, she was there. So she learned from watching me how to poop and pee in a toilet. And that's what she did. So I tried to teach her how to flush. Yeah, that didn't work out so well. I wish I could have taught her how to flush. That'd have been perfect because I don't care if she was using toilet. Walking in and seeing the floaters is not my ideal thing. Yeah. Yeah. There is, man, if humans could love the way animals do, yeah, you're right, Griff. We shared the same box. Oh God, I miss that cat. See, my ex-wife cheated on me whenever I was deployed in Iraq. And I actually got recordings of her. She was talking about she can't wait till I die, so she collected money. And she was selling my stuff and getting rid of it because she didn't plan on me coming back from Iraq. And so Rose had gotten mad and shit and pissed on all of her clothes, got in the dresser, shit and pissed on everything because she was cheating on me. And that was Rose's mentality. Hey, your daddy's property, and you're messing around. Daddy ain't gonna like that. I don't like that. So that's just how Rose was. Yeah, yeah, a lot of it, Griff. I mean, cheating and divorce rates went up 72% just the first year of deployments alone. Um, so my ex-wife, without telling me, got rid of Rose because she was shitting and pissing on her stuff because, well, she was cheating on me and Rose did not like it. So I never got to say goodbye to my cat or see her again because my ex-wife. Yep, that's what happened to the great and merciful Rose. And then I had, uh, so I came back from my fourth deployment, and there, I hate floaters. So, oh my god, that is a huge pet peeve for me. My God, don't leave floaters in my house. I can't stand floaters. Um, But when I came back from my fourth tour in Iraq, I was with a girlfriend. I'd filed for divorce in my fourth tour. I got tired of my ex-wife's crap. Um, yeah, yeah, that's very true. Very true, Griff. Yeah, yeah, it's I my kids don't know about that. I don't share that to my kids. Um, when they turn 18, that could change if they want to know. There's a lot of things I hide from my kids that I don't want them to know. I grew up in a split home. I never knew my father. He's my sperm donor. He left when I was 2 months old. He's sitting in a all male medium federal security prison in Quincy, Illinois, with a parole date of 2054. And to this day, He still does not claim me. So I've tried like hell not to split my family up because I came from that. I didn't want that for my kids, And then about time I almost gave up. The first time said I'm done with this crap. And my youngest she was pregnant with my youngest. It's life, Griff. So I decided I got to stick it. I got to stick with this. I can't split my family up because of my kids. Um, it's too important to me. I don't want them growing up how I did. But after my fourth tour, when I was home on R&R, and she was telling me, well, if I really want her divorced, then I wouldn't still be married to you now. And then I'm finding out she's got another man in the house that she got under my name in my bed using my stuff. I got pissed. Yeah. So when I was home on R&R, my fourth tour in Iraq, I filed for divorce. I was like, I've had enough. I want to keep my family. I don't want to split it up, but for me, I have to do this. I have to, otherwise that person I fought so hard not to be is going to come back with vengeance. So mentally for me, physically for me, spiritually for me, I filed. I fought like hell not to. I lost both my wives while deployed, once in the Marines, once in the Army, because of cheating. So a little personal story about me. My road name, for those you don't know, I ride motorcycles. I love motorcycles. Being on two wheels, feeling that power, that freedom, that connection with earth and that wind. Just Stope 9. That is just Thor and Romeo. Stope. Be respectful, or you're going to have to get down. Coming back from my fourth tour, one of the few pleasures and freedoms I have in my life is that big, beautiful machine between my legs, and we're going down the road, and it's just you, the open air, that machine, and the wind. God, it's poetry, man. There's no other feeling than being on two wheels and the freedom that comes with being on two wheels. So my road name is Giggity, Quagmire. We won't get into details on too much on that, how I got that name, but there's a reason why I have the name Giggity. So giving, that's the reason why I have that road name. Yeah, Griff, man. God, it is so magical being on them two wheels going down that road. There's just, God, it's pure magic, man. It's, you cannot describe the magic and the feeling you have until you do it for yourself. You know why, Griff. I'm not going to tell you that you're wrong, buddy. I'm not going to say you're right. I'm just going to say I'm not going to tell you you're wrong. So, giving that I have earned that road name, if I'm deployed, yeah, Romeo, Juliet, Samson, and Delilah. Yeah, exactly. My first one was Romeo and Juliet. My second one was Samson and Delilah. Well, my second and third. My first true love was Romeo and Juliet. My two marriages were Samson and Delilah. 100%, Griff. I wasn't going to go there, but 100%, buddy. No one, until they ride them two wheels for themselves, they're never going to understand that statement and how true that statement really is. Oh my God, man! Just Saturday, I'm finally have recovered from that knee injury. Saturday, I talked about in my lives because I pushed it a little hard. I got 75-degree weather, and I'm looking at this big, matte black, shiny, beautiful woman sitting in my driveway. And if anybody tells you a man does not suffer from PMS, I can tell you now, horse shit. PMS for a man is parked motorcycle syndrome. Oh my God. So you're hearing this beautiful angel, and her name is Black Beauty. I'm not going to lie. You hear her call, Giggity. You know you want to ride me. Look at this weather. Your knee's good enough. Come on, big boy. Take me for a ride. You can only fight that urge for so long for you're like, we're going for a ride. And I'm running 90 plus mile an hour down the road. Man, I got that wind hitting me and all the magnificent that comes with being on two wheels. I loved it. I loved it. I paid for it. When I got back home, my knee was in. I went a little soon. I should have waited a little bit before getting on a bike with dealing with what I was dealing with. But it is. Oh yeah, Sue. Man, you cannot describe that feeling until you do it for yourself. That's why my Facebook status on my regular Facebook page is complicated because I cannot put in there that I'm in a relationship with my motorcycle. So, yeah, but it's just that, man, that power, just that power and that freedom is just, God, it's amazing, man. So yeah, kind of like Sunday when I pushed it going through the woods. I kind of pushed it Saturday being on that bike. But man, when you feel that momentum, when you're shooting them curves, and I shoot curves one-handed a lot. I know my bike. I know how she handles. When you're never truly a rider till you become one with that big, beautiful machine between your legs. You're just not. Um, I know my bike very well. I know what she likes. I know what she doesn't. She knows what I like. She knows what I don't. I mean, I shoot curves one-handed on my bike often. I can lay on my back seat of my bike and she stays straight. She's very well centered. Um, she handles very good. I mean, it's just, I love my bike. And Sunday we're going for another ride because we got that swap meet and bike show Sunday. We got to get set up and do. But it's just, God, man. But yeah, coming back from Iraq, man. Besides my woods, being on that bike is the next best thing, man. It just there's nothing like it. But so back to the story. Giving that I've earned that name. If I can be faithful during deployment, then there's no reason why a woman can't. So, when I was deployed in the Marines, deployed in the Army, and and I can be that way, giving my nature. There's no reason why a woman couldn't. So that's why I chose it. You ever try Tiger Balm patches? They work great for me. I prefer staying away from meds. I've heard of them, but I haven't tried them, Sue. I'll have to look into them. They sound familiar. They sound very familiar, but I can't remember a lot about them. But yeah, I'll have to look into them. Still salty and garbage from winter on the road. There is kind of some here too. I mean, we just had sleet this morning. A lot of sleet this morning. But it warmed up quick enough. It was gone. It didn't last long. No, I'm sorry, not this morning, last night. I was sitting here about 1:00 this morning making, there's only one kind of ride, Sue, and that's a good old hog. I can't do crotch rockets. That's just it's not my thing, man. I like getting on the street cruiser. I love kicking back, have my feet up over the pegs, the wind in my hair, what little bit of hair I have left. I just that's the only way to go, man. Hog is the only way to go, baby. There, you can't do anything else but that. I've rode crotch rockets. I just don't like them. I don't like how they sit. I don't like how they feel. They're just not me, man. They're just not me. Give me them thundering horses and a road to take it down, and I'm happy. So I have a 2016 Indian Scout. Um, I've got 10-inch mini apes on it, handmade solid steel bitch guard on the back or bitch rest on the back. Um, I have stage one done to it, Vance and Hind pipes. I've got a Trask intake. I put it on it a couple winters ago. Before I'd done any kind of tune up to it, I was beating crotch rockets for that bike. Um, Now, the last race I ever did was a crotch rocket. And by the time I was stupid because I did it with a half cap. And by the time I got my eyes, the tears from my eyes cleaned out, I was doing a buck 20 coming into a curve. Yeah, there is. Well, yes and no. At one time, I had connections. So I was able to get things done for little to no cost. And some of it I've had to do. The Vance and Hind pipes, when I bought them, I put them on shortly after I got my bike. They were $485 for the Vance and Hind pipes. The mini apes, them and installed only cost me $100. He did the stage one for $100. The Trask intake cost me $175. I put it on myself, um, but it's a fun bike. It's not a good bike for long distance. I'm not going to lie, especially with my back and knees. It's not a good bike for a long ride. But these country roads I live on, oh my god, it's so much fun. My pop one had one years ago. My sister had a Kawasaki. Older brother, I don't know, younger brother. Yeah, yeah. I just, man, I love Indians, Indian motorcycles. I like Harleys too. I don't like what Harley's become. Harley and Budweiser have really let me down. They've lost basis with who they were created for. Yeah, ninjas that was popular when I was younger, around that time frame, Sue. So I'd say you're probably right. Uh, I'm just I won't go out and buy a new Harley, but if I come across one at a good price, I'll buy it. I do most of the maintenance on my bikes and vehicles myself. Um, I'm a very big penny pincher, and $275 to change an oil on a bike. There's no profit in that for me. That is profit for a corporation and not for me. I won't do it. Um, with what the new guy at Harley Davidson is doing, he's going to kill Harley Davidson. He's already turned so many people away from Harley Davidson because of what he's doing. I can't do it. I cannot be a part of that. Um, Me personally, my feelings are if you're on two wheels, that's all that matters. Don't give a crap what you ride, as long as you're on two wheels. Hey, you need to get yourself a bike then, Sue. Tours and tour bikes and dirt bikes are fun for their own reason. Hold on one second. It's a work call. Give me 1 second, guys. Sorry, guys. That was a work call. Um, but yeah, I agree, Sue. Back pain is a big problem that I have with riding too. I had the back ablation done like DA did. And I hate to admit it because it's probably not a manly thing, but I was in damn tears. When they first time I got the first round of injections, when they were testing to see if this back ablation would work, was the first time I had no severe back pain in 21 plus years. I mean, it was just the feeling of relief. Um, it's my God, it's unbelievable. So I mean, that back ablation's helped out a lot. It's not a permanent thing; it doesn't fix you; it just dulls the pain. So I highly recommend it. Is it starting to come back where I may have to have it done again? Yeah, I'm starting to get pains back, but it doesn't curl me up in the ball like it used to. Yeah, it's a very popular saying, Sue. You don't dress for the ride; you dress for the slide. Um, these people that run around in flip flops and shorts, I laugh because the amount of road rash you're going to get is not if you're going to go down; it's when you go down. They're going. I've seen people's toes chewed off from road rash because they're wearing flip flops. Yeah, that's what I deal with too, Griff. Get that ablation done. See if you can have that done. The VA paid for mine. My back injuries are stemmed from the military jumping out of helicopters for 13 years. So I mean that's something to look into. Go to the VA, to your VA doctor, see if they can get it done. The worst they can tell you is that it's not going to work, and you won't know that until they've done the 2 test shots. That I know very, very, very well, Griff. Um, very, very well. I know that very, very well. Yeah, yeah. So I know what you're talking about. I would check into it. I don't know if you have a VA doc or not, Griff. I do. I'm a 90% disabled vet. No problem, Sue. I just realized we've been on here for over 3 hours. That's kind of cool. It's kind of fun. We can just sit there and bullshit with each other. I'm probably going to have to feed these little. I don't have to feed the little monsters, but the other bigger monsters I'm going to have to feed before too long. I was just jumping on here to talk about my book, but I mean, having chats like this is fun. Um, but yeah, that's why you always go by that saying, man. You dress for the slide, not the ride. Good. So, Griff, when you get that done, tell them about your back pain, um, and see if they'll set you up for the back ablation. Exactly right, Sue. I agree 100%. Good. That's good, Griff. You'll be if it works. It worked for DA. It worked for me, and it worked for some other people I know. I also know people that it didn't work for. Some people it helps, some people it don't. I'm not going to sugarcoat that for you. For me, it helped. I was able to get up, get mobile. I was able to do other stuff. Yeah, yeah, Sue. They really do. Yeah, ever since I've had that ablation done, I've been more mobile, and it's been extremely helpful. Not only for with my professional life at work, but my life here at home too. Is probably take it easy, Sue. We'll holler at you later. Um, we'll be able, you'll be able to do a lot of stuff if it works for you. So, I mean, you got the first step done, and that's good. I'm happy for you, bud. Now just start going in and try to get things fixed, And like I said, the ablation it does not heal you. It just makes it where you don't feel that pain. My back pain was so bad that I couldn't even ride my bike. And it was so bad that I get one cut into a log of wood and I was curled up on the ground, barely able to breathe from the pain and damn near in tears. And that was just one cut into a log. I mean, I couldn't hold a saw, I couldn't hold an axe, I couldn't drive a post, I couldn't pull fence, I couldn't do anything because I mean, I couldn't even enjoy my ride on my bike because my back pain was like so bad. I mean, it was so bad. I stopped camping. I stopped doing a lot of crap because I get up and walk 5 feet, and all of a sudden you get that knot build up in the small of my back, and it would start cutting my breath off. So it is definitely worth something to look into, buddy. Yeah, I've lost so many nights of sleep because pain has been so severe that no matter which way I moved, I couldn't get comfortable to get rid of the pain. So I mean, I know that feeling very well, buddy. I really do. Um, I mean, that's why I highly recommend you look into that, bud. Um, it's definitely worth it. It is definitely worth it. Worst case scenario, like I said, is you go in there, you get the test shots done, and it don't work. At least you know, and at least you tried to fix it. I mean, it's one of the few modern things that I kind of like. When that see the VA will not do it themselves. They'll send you to a pain clinic, and for me it was Mercy Hospital in Springfield, and they sent me there. They went in. They first appointment I had, they kind of talked to me, went over what was going on. They kind of prodded and felt around. Which for me, the pain at that time was so bad that even just touching it was agonizing for me. Um, yeah, yeah, Griff. Um, so when they said, okay, yeah, you seem like a good candidate for this ablation, they make two more appointments for you. And both of them appointments is you get these needles stuck in your back and they put this injection in there. If it gets rid of the pain, you're a good candidate for the ablation. Yeah. Yeah. Community cares. I mean, that's good. You're on the right step, bud. If both of them appointments are successful, then they set up your final appointment, and that's to have the operation done. Now, I'm not going to sugarcoat you, even though they numb you because they got to stick needles in there to burn them nerves. It still hurts, and even with all the numbing they do, because they're shoving needles down into your spine and doing this stuff. So I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not going to hide anything back. It's going to be painful as hell, but the pain only lasts for a few moments and then it's gone. So, yeah, I've been shot, stabbed, hit by a car, fell out of a helicopter, had a long nose Pete hood slammed down on the small of my back. I've, rodeo, farming, mechanic, and I've had a lot of, my body's been through hell. And you stick a needle in my joint. I mean, I could take a lot of pain. I'm not trying to brag, but I could take pain. I'm used to pain. I live with pain. You stick a needle in a joint, buddy, that's a queersome feeling right there. That is a different kind of feeling. There's a different kind of pain. It's hard to talk about. Yeah, yeah. See, mine was all mainly in my lower back, Griff. But yeah, I mean, talk to him. Like I said, worst thing to know, worst thing they can say is that yeah, it ain't gonna work. I've had double carpal tunnel surgery. That's why I'm not a mechanic no more. I was an 18-wheeler mechanic for a long time. Uh, I still dealt with pain. What finally happened, and anybody listens to this now or listen to it later has ever turned a wrench for a living in their life, or they'll agree with what I'm about to say. When you're a mechanic, you can't just take off work because your hand hurts. So for many years, I worked through pain. And finally, one day, I was knocking the brake drums off a 3-axle lowboy, and my hand locked up around the hammer, wouldn't go. And it took like damn near 30 minutes for everything to slowly start releasing to the point that I can let go of that hammer. That is about the time in my life when I decided I've got to get fixed. So, one found out I had severe carpal tunnel in both hands. So they went in and fixed it. I fought and fought and fought and fought and fought with work comp, telling them I'm not healed. I still have a lot of pain. I lost my job because I couldn't work because I was still dealing with a lot of pain. Well, a couple years ago, I found out why I still have a lot of pain. I didn't just have carpal tunnel, severe carpal tunnel, but my ulnar nerve here and my ulnar nerve here was being pinched, and that's why I was still having pain. So the whole time of them telling me that, oh, I'm full of crap and I'm trying to milk the system, me being me, may or may not, I will not confirm or deny, may have had a few choice words that weren't so friendly, uh, because being called a liar, being called somebody's trying to milk a system, being told that I'm full of crap, I may or may not get a little personal when that happens, and a very ugly side of me comes out. And so it was quite a bit of heated conversation, to the point at one time I told the nurse on the phone, was like, "You're calling me on my phone, calling me a liar. You don't pay for this blank de blank. I do. You better talk respect to me." And yeah, it's one of my pet peeves, Griff. It's I'm so people mistaken my demeanor as being an asshole. I'm not. I am a Marine grunt NCO. I am very blunt. I am very honest. I'm not in the market to make your feelers feel better. I just tell you how it is. The truth's the truth. Reality is reality, like it or not. I have to face the same issues. Everybody else does too. So when you start questioning me and calling me a liar on the phone, saying I'm trying to milk the system to get on disability, true, Griff. Um, the NCO side of me comes out very, very quickly. And it's not usually pleasant for the person receiving it. Um, so I try to warn people ahead of time a lot, is do not mistake me for being a type of person that I'm not. I'm just a very brutally honest person. Now, have I learned through a lot of hard work to go, I don't know if you're ready for that answer yet. I'd really not like to answer. And if I tell you that, or I tell you, I promise you, if I answer this, I'm going to hurt your feelers. That's me trying to be nice and go, this is not a conversation that you want to have. And that's just me trying to be nice. But people take it the wrong way quite often. You know, I am a type person, man. I'll give you the shirt off my back if it'll help you out. I suffer and I sacrifice my needs, my wants, my desires, my things I have to do to help other people out. Yes. I wasn't going to say it, Griff, but they may not have been able to see it, but yeah, that has a tendency to pop out pretty damn quick. Usually if that's popping out, I am beyond a level of pissed. When the knife hands come out, yeah, it's my pissy level, my give a crap attitude, and I'm going to personally hurt your feelers because you pissed me off comes out, is when the knife hands come out. When that starts coming out, that's when you know I'm at that stage of I really don't give two craps about you, your feelings, or anything else about you. Some things I can't talk about on YouTube, so I'm not going to do it. But there's other things that cross in my head when that time comes out too. So yeah, if knife hands come out, that's not a good situation. I'm on a whole different level of pissed. So, and that may or may not have been happening, even regardless if she could see it over the phone or not. Yeah, I do not like being at that level. I've worked hard to be how I am now, where I'm, happy, joyful, love to joke. The old military smoke or saying, "I like to smoke and joke." You know, I live by a phrase, and I can't repeat it on YouTube, but it's a phrase called dilly gaff. And if you want to know what dilly gaff means, you'll have to look it up. DILLIGF or AF. Dilly gaff. If you want to know what that means, I cannot repeat it on YouTube. Look it up. And you'll understand what I mean. That is a phrase that I live by a lot. I've got to the point in my life where I've learned how to stop letting people take control over me by allowing my emotions to make judgment. In logic, in truth, in fact, in reality, emotions have zero to do with that. So if you want the truth, you want the facts, you want reality, you have to think logical and not emotional. And when your emotions get involved on things, people gain control and power over you. If you don't believe me, look what's happening in your country right now. That's all I'm going to say on that. They use that to their advantage to manipulate and make people do and think how they want. So I stopped letting people do that. I stopped letting them have power over me and control over me because now, am I going to sit there and lie to you and say that I don't still get pissed from time to time whenever you start questioning my integrity or my intentions or stuff like that? I'm human. It happens. We're all human. It's all going to happen. But as soon as you start learning to stop letting people control you through your emotions, you'll live a better life. I promise you that. A new level of living and a new, what's a good way of putting it? A new higher dimension of thinking and living opens up to you once you stop. Emotions are important. Don't get me wrong, folks. Emotions are very important. They really are. But emotions cannot dictate truth, fact, and reality. Only logic does. So you can live with your emotions, but you also got to know how to control your emotions. You're right, Griff, and that's why I say I'll never lie and say I won't get angry. I do. I get angry at some of these podcasters out here because they're this is my way and my way only. No, bud, what we're dealing with in this field and this study in our life is not. It's a theory. So until you give me 100% proof that your theory is fact, it's just a theory, dude. My theories are my theories. I tell people all the time on my shows or any other show I'm on, this is my theory, my opinion. I cannot say for fact that this is a fact because I can't. It's a theory. And that's why I tell people all the time, it's like we need to quit going, this is my way or it's the highway, and we're never going to get to the truth because that's happening. We need to come together, go, okay, this is my theory, and this is the basis for my theory. And then this person goes, this is my theory, and this is the basis for my theory. And until we can come together and understand that and then start working on this and start eliminating theories that ain't real and start proving theories that are fact in this world of cryptids, supernatural, paranormal, the bizarre, folklore, mytholore, whatever you want to go, that's how it's going to be. You're right, Griff. You're right, and I've done that too. I mean, I've done that too, and I've seen, and part of this may be I'm convinced. This is my theory, my opinion. Part of it is designed for what I'm about to talk about. The other part is I think it's just because people want to get clout, and it's their way and no way. And that is, I've seen so many good podcasters get burned out and not continue doing podcast on this stuff because they're tired of all the backlash they get from people going, well, I don't, so and so is ignorant because that's not how it is. This is how it is. This is my proof, and this is how it is, and you're going to like this and this. No, that is wrong. And I'm a firm believer some purposely are put there to do that to cause this. Others do it because they want that clout and they don't give two craps about the truth. And in the end, it hurts people that their heart is truly into this. This is truly what their heart and their passion is. I've seen it too often, way too often. And it's sad. I've seen quite a few good podcasters get taken down from that. I've also seen some people has been taken off a line because they were given an option. Or see, it's they were given a choice they could not refuse, and if they refused that choice, things happen. I guess is a good way to put it. I'm trying to think how to say it without getting my butt in too much trouble. But yeah, that's just my opinion. Right or wrong, that's my opinion. I just realized on this book, for some reason, I have page numbers above and below. So now I got to figure out how to get these page numbers off of this freaking thing. I don't know how that happened. Yeah, drama clicks, likes, views. It's the rubbernecking. Yeah, looky loo syndrome. So I've said this many a time on my shows and on other shows. I have never, far as I can remember, have ever personally have seen a cryptid. I have seen enough proof to suggest that they are real. Enough proof for me to go, they exist. Now, anytime I see something, either that I've found or I've seen on this stressful freaking interweb, I am always going to approach it with two different angles. One, is this a possibility of being true? Absolutely. So now that I can suggest that this is absolutely possible, could be true, I am going to look at it. What could this be if it's not? Like I seen a show today that this, I don't know, local news in Texas talk about how this family caught a chupacabra. I'm sorry. The first second I saw that thing, I went, that's a hairless raccoon. And they're like, oh, raccoons don't make, that is a raccoon with mange. Look what it's doing. Look at its acting. Look at its shape. Look at it. That is a freaking raccoon. But I've also seen things going, that is definitely intriguing. The only other thing, if it is not that, it's somebody in a really good suit, or it's pareidolia. And a lot of times, a lot of stuff I see is pareidolia. I've had that here. I've had it here where I've had to send to somebody else. Like, I don't know what I'm looking at. This seems like it could be this way, but I'm not sure. I need another set of eyes looking. Why is my camera being all weird? It is like not wanting. I'm gonna have to play with this dang thing later on. It is doing some weird crap. It's like it's constantly moving and not staying in where I want it. But and I've ran into pareidolia myself. I'm not afraid to admit it. That's why I'll send it to somebody. It's like, hey, I want you to take a look. I want your opinion on this. I don't know if this is what I'm seeing. What do you see? Or sometimes I won't even tell them what I'm seeing. I'll just say, hey, what do you see here? And then I'll tell them, okay, that's what I was wondering because I was looking at this and this is what I kind of thought. Because you have to keep that in mind in this field. You have to keep that in mind. If everything you look at is a Bigfoot, a ghoul, a Wendigo, a chupacabra, whatever it is that you're wanting to say it is, you'll never get to the truth. You always got to have that doubt in there saying, this very well could be this. And if you don't have that, then you're setting yourself up for failure. I'm a firm believer in that. So, well, guys, I know we started out as working on my book and went somewhere else. It is, Griff, very big. And we've been on here. I've been on here for 3.5 hours. That's awesome. Didn't get much more writing done, but that's okay. I've got plenty of time. I'm going to get something to eat. I'm starting to get hungry, and I got to keep my girlish, fluffy figure. So I am going to go heat me up some food and get something to eat. And hopefully, guys, come on later on. William Nighthawk's going to be on tonight. If I can get my thing to work here. There we go. If you guys are not following William Nighthawk, come on, computer, work for me here. Thank you. You can find him on YouTube here. He's going to be on, I think it's 10 o'clock Central Standard Time, 11 o'clock East Coast time. Heck yeah, it's chow time, buddy. It is freaking chow time. I gotta go to my local mess hall. He seems to be doing better. He was on here a little bit ago and said he is going live tonight. I might be live with him and I might not. I'm waiting to hear from him on that. But if you get a chance, look up William Nighthawk. That's his YouTube channel down below. Another one, if you're wanting some good cryptid stuff and just a bizarre and everything, look up DA Ex Machina. Follow DA Roberts on YouTube. He's a fellow author. Man's got a very good talent for writing books, an extreme good talent for writing books. That's another good YouTube channel to go to for anybody watching this later on, or anybody watching now that's not already following them. Yeah, it'd be good to see you in there, Griff. It really would, buddy. And another good friend of mine, I'm hoping to have him back on soon when he's feeling up to par, is Breaking Bad's very own Jesus Payon Jr. Go look up YouTube on Breaking Documentaries. He has got a fountain of information when it comes to this too. Oh, that's Dark Waters. Look him up on YouTube as well. All three of them guys, they are very, very, very good wealth of information when it comes to cryptids and the supernatural, paranormal, the mythological, folklore, and the bizarre. They are a big inspiration for me. I'm very honored to have all three of them as a friend. So follow them and watch their content. And if you guys get a chance, prepare for March 15th, the release on Linda Eastburden's YouTube channel, Byways of Bigfoot, where your resident little me is a part of that docu-series. And once that's out after a while, then I can start talking about my personal Bigfoot stuff. I am doing a show Sunday night about Bigfoot, but I cannot talk about my personal stuff to a point because I'm part of this document series. So if you want to find out, you want to listen to some of the interviews that Linda Eastburden does, go to her YouTube channel down here at the bottom. And that is also where Byways of Bigfoot documentary will be released March 15th. And so those of you guys who get on tonight on William's channel, I'll see you then. Also remember tomorrow night, Saturday nights at 5 o'clock Central Standard Time, is my campfire chats with Eric and guest. You guys are more than welcome to come in, talk about your encounters here in chat, or if you want to come on live, let me know. I'll send you a link to come on live and we'll talk about it live. Sunday nights is my at 8:00 Central Standard Time is my Bizarre and the Unknown deal, where this episode 12 will be this Sunday, and it is about Bigfoot, like I was talking about earlier. So I hope to see you guys later. Thank you for coming in. Love the comments. I love the interaction from you people. And anytime you guys got questions about any books that I'm writing or anything else, always shoot me a message. That's why I sometimes do a live like this where I'm working on my book. Sometimes it turns out to be something different, but I do this so that you guys that are interested in my books and in what I write, that I can talk with you about it. It's my way of connecting with my fellow readers on the stuff I write about. So it was great seeing you guys, and I appreciate you so much. And all I can say is peace, love, and blessings to you all. And we'll see you guys next time.